Nusa Tenggara Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi dua mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. Dua puncak, dua cerita, satu kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam satu genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini kami melangkah dengan semangat baru, melayani setiap transaksi masyarakat dengan penuh dedikasi. Dua kebanggaan dalam satu genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah. Nusa Tenggara Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi dua mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. Dua puncak, dua cerita, satu kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam satu genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini kami melangkah dengan semangat baru, melayani setiap transaksi masyarakat dengan penuh dedikasi. Dua kebanggaan dalam satu genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah. Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi 2 mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. 2 puncak, 2 cerita, 1 kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam satu genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini kami melangkah dengan semangat baru, melayani setiap transaksi masyarakat dengan penuh dedikasi. 2 kebanggaan dalam satu genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah. Nusa Tenggara Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi 2 mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. 2 puncak, 2 cerita, 1 kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam satu genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini kami melangkah dengan semangat baru, melayani setiap transaksi masyarakat dengan penuh dedikasi. 2 kebanggaan dalam satu genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah.
Nah, paling besar suaranya sini. Sini, yes. You are. Come here. Oke. Oke, dengan siapa?
Azim.
Azim sudah isoma?
Belum.
Belum. Kok suaranya lantang gitu, gimana puasa?
Enggak.
Oke. Date, sebelum saya panggil Mbak Tari, apa yang kamu ketahui tentang Gramedia?
Bookstore.
Oke. Lebih spesifik lagi? Pegang dong mic-nya, capek sampai pegangin.
Kayak tempat yang jual buku. Isn't it obvious?
Oke, cuman 2 itu ya. Nah, sekarang untuk lebih lengkapnya kita panggil saja Mbak Tari dari Gramedia Store. Oke, kami persilakan Mbak Tari. Karena tadi sudah menyebutkan 2 hal. Nah, kamu udah dapat goodie bag ya. Tapi saya ingin dengar edukasinya dari Mbak Tari seperti apa. Karena selain bookstore, kata banyak juga perlengkapan yang lain. Sini Mbak Tari, jangan malu-malu. Oke, lebih baik malu timbang malu-maluin ya. Oke Mbak Tari, jawabannya apa tadi? Gramedia itu? Pasti itu dong.
Cek.
Oke, pertama
Bookstore.
Oke, yang kedua?
Tempat jual buku.
Sama. Oke, benar nggak kira-kira? Jawabannya dia yang pertama aja, benar kan?
Betul,
Sudah
yang
betul.
benar.
Silakan duduk kamu dengan feedback. Tepuk tangan dong. Segampang itu dapat hadiah ya. Oke Mbak Tari, kalau tadi clue-nya sudah ada secara umum bookstore, tapi seperti apa spesifiknya selain buku-buku apa saja yang dijual? Oke, silakan.
Baik, selamat siang semuanya. Perkenalkan, saya Tari, karyawan dari Gramedia Lombok. Jadi mungkin memang orang biasa ya yang belum pernah mengunjungi Gramedia itu menganggap Gramedia itu hanya menjual buku. Tapi teman-teman sudah mengunjungi Gramedia.
Mbak Tari sebentar, kita sapa dulu. Dear Mr. Patient, welcome to Lombok. Mbak Iin, selamat datang. Oke, kita tunggu break sebentar. Kita lanjutkan dulu dengan sesi edukasi. Silakan Mbak Tari dilanjutkan.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih. Ya, seperti saya ulangin lagi, memang banyak orang di luar sana yang belum pernah mengunjungi Gramedia itu mengklaim bahwa Gramedia itu hanya menjual buku, teman-teman. Padahal bukan buku saja, kami menjual non-buku. Non-buku itu seperti apa sih? Seperti yang teman-teman bisa lihat di lantai 1 kita, itu ada peralatan tulis, ada alat musik, ada alat olahraga, ada mainan dan sebagainya macamnya gitu teman-teman.
Oke, gitu ya teman-teman ya, sudah tergambar ya. Jadi bukan hanya buku saja tapi banyak peralatan-peralatan lain yang dijual. Jadi ada untuk olahraga juga, ada kemudian perlengkapan
Ada musik juga.
Ada musik juga. Oke. Ada yang bertanya? Mungkin bertanya ada diskon nggak buat saya? Oke Mbak, kalau selain buku misalnya, kita kan tahu mungkin ada beberapa program terkait dengan adik-adik sekolah atau biasanya ada nggak event-event yang reguler yang dilaksanakan oleh Gramedia?
Oke, baik. Jadi Gramedia itu tiap bulannya ada tentunya promo diskon teman-teman.
Oke.
Gitu. Jadi untuk yang bulan April kita itu ada promo members deals. Jadi members deals ini diskon hingga 15% teman-teman untuk pembelian buku terbitan Gramedia. Jadi kita Kompas Gramedia itu ada unit usaha penerbit teman-teman. Kita ada 6 penerbit, yaitu Gramedia Pustaka Utama, Grasindo, MNC, Alex Media, Buana Ilmu Populer, Kepustakaan Populer Gramedia, dan Water Lily teman-teman. Jadi dan juga teman-teman harus punya My Value.
Oke, My Value. Fungsinya untuk apa My Value?
Oke, jadi My Value ini itu adalah program loyalty kepada customer customer Kompas Gramedia teman-teman. Jadi setiap teman-teman yang belanja 25.000 dapat poin 400.
Oke,
itu bisa di redeem poin senilai 25.000, 50.000, 100.000. Selain itu juga My Value itu banyak banget promo yang ada di aplikasinya teman-teman. Jadi itu benefit yang menurut saya sangat bagus.
Oke, jadi kalau misalnya beli produk bisa jadi ada diskon dari situ ya?
Yes, bisa.
Dan itu tidak mengenal customer baik itu pelajar, mahasiswa maupun umum sama?
Berlaku untuk semuanya.
Oke, berlaku untuk semua. Rajin-rajin ke Gramedia ya. Selain pintar, paling nggak kita bisa cuci mata ya. Cuci kantong, iya juga sih, tapi untuk knowledge kita ya. Oke, terima kasih Mbak Tari. Mungkin ada yang ingin sampaikan penting barangkali mau bagi-bagi. Enggak juga ya, itu cukup.
Cukup aja.
Enggak ada kata-kata penutup? Closing statement?
Oke.
Oke.
Kata-kata penutup saya, teman-teman harus tetap membudayakan membaca. Karena membaca itu adalah jendela ilmu dan jendela dunia. Itu memperluas pola pikir kalian, entah dari sudut satunya dengan yang lain, itu sangat berpengaruh kepada teman-teman semua. Semoga teman-teman semua minat bacanya makin tinggi dan dipertahankan. Itu aja dari saya.
Oke, thank you. Kita berikan aplaus untuk Mbak Tari. Terima kasih Mbak Tari. Naiknya boleh ditaruh di situ. Oke, Mas Adit, tolong kasih hadiah teman kita yang di depan satu. Kita punya ada 3 hadiah teman-teman. Ini support dari English One juga. Terima kasih. Terima kasih Gramedia tentunya sudah memfasilitasi event kita pada siang hari ini. Ada 3 hari, 9, 10, 11. Oke, yang lainnya kalau mau hadiah tinggal nanti jawab pertanyaan atau mau ikut kegiatan. Kaget, yang kaget dapat hadiah tapi nanti. Oke, masih fokus ya. Jadi ada sekitar 26 siswa yang belum perform. Kita akan nantikan karena Mr. Tyson sudah datang. Kita sembari menunggu juga wasit pendamping dari Mr. Tyson, Mas Purwan, yang masih dalam perjalanan. Oke, saya ingin bagi 2 goodie bag lagi teman-teman. Saya mau tes tapi masih fokus atau enggak ya. Oke. Semua peserta mungkin tangannya diangkat sebelah kanan. Tangannya diangkat sebelah kanan. Yang belakang peserta enggak? Oh ya peserta. Ibu bukan peserta ya? Bukan. Oke, angkat tangannya sebelah kanan. Yang main HP, boleh HP-nya dikasih saya. Oke, angkat tangan ya. Sebelah kanan, sebelah kanan. Oke, 2 kali, 3 kali. Oke, angkat. Oke, saya mau tes fokusnya. Ya, ada kata-kata jebakan. Oke, kata-kata jebakannya adalah bakso. You remember that? Bakso. Ya. Selain kata-kata bakso, tangannya tidak boleh diturunkan. Ya? Understand? Paham? Mengerti? Oke. Bilang hu dulu semuanya. 1, 2, 3. Kurang kencang. 1, 2, 3. Oke, sekarang angkat tangannya. Tinggi-tinggi. Oke. Saya akan membacakan sebuah cerita. Ingat clue-nya bakso. Kalau ada kata-kata bakso, tangannya turun. Oke. Boleh begini, boleh begini, boleh begini. Pokoknya turun ya. Oke. Up, stand, tangan di atas. Yang jilbab hitam. Di samping merah, oke, angkat tangannya. Saya nggak lihat tangannya. Pendek ya, oke. Enggak, maksudnya ke bawah. Oke, setiap ada kata-kata bakso harus turun. Oke, standby, 1, 2, 3, tangan di atas. Ketika saya jalan dari rumah, saya menemukan dagang bakmi. Oh, bakso, ingat. Oke, setelah saya sampai di Gramedia, kemudian saya melipir ke depan Gramedia, saya melihat ada sebuah dagang bakmi. Oh iya, sudah mulai fokus nih, sudah mulai fokus. Oke, ketika dagang bakmi datang, tiba-tiba saja ada yang menawarkan dan belnya bunyi-bunyi, pang, 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 bunyi bel bakpao. Iya, sudah mulai kus-kus saudara-saudara. Tinggal satu lagi, Mas, angkat tangannya langsung ya. Yang baru datang langsung angkat tangannya, kecuali Bu Guru. Ya, oke. Dan tiba-tiba saya berada di tengah-tengah kerumunan orang berdemonstrasi. Dan pada saat itu ada seorang kakek yang sedang membawa sebuah piring yang berisi bakmi. Oke, dan pada akhirnya saya lepas puasa saya dengan berbuka menggunakan bakso. Oke, tinggal kok kamu jadi kamu yang nggak fokus? Oke, tepuk tangan untuk kita semuanya. Baik teman-teman, saya akan bagi 1 goodie bag sebelum kita mulai. Mr. Purwan sudah tiba ya? Oke. Mas Adit mungkin bisa disiapkan untuk form penilaiannya di depan. Untuk Mr. Tyson 1, untuk Mr. Purwan 1. Oke teman-teman, saya ingin bertanya secara umum, ya langsung dijawab ya. Langsung dijawab. Boleh dari tanggal berapa sampai tanggal berapa kegiatan ini? Langsung jawab.
9 sampai 11 April.
Oke, cakep. Mas Adit kasih hadiahnya 1. Oke. Siapa nama juri kita? Juri 1 dan juri 2?
Mr. Tyson dan Mr. Purwan.
Oke, kasih. Betapa baiknya saya bagi-bagi hadiah. Oke, Mas Adit bisa dibagi. 1 Mbak siapa? 1 Mbak Lala, 1 Mas Oji. Ya. Oke. Oke teman-teman, jadi kita akan segera mulai ke sesi 2, di mana peserta yang akan berkompetisi pada siang hari ini sekitar tinggal 26 peserta. Tadi 10 orang di sesi pertama sudah show menunjukkan perform mereka. Mbak Yanti sama Mas Oji. Oh, berubah lagi namanya. 2. Yang sebelah situ Mas Adit yang pakai baju kuning. Oke. Baik. Tidak usah berlama-lama, kita akan undang 2 juri kita dan pendamping juri kita. Welcome to Mr. Purwan dan welcome to Mr. Tyson. Please welcome. Oke, sedang seru sepertinya. Oke, tunggu sebentar. Oke, teman-teman, jadi silakan untuk mempersiapkan diri. Ada peserta selanjutnya. Nanti dari nomor 11 sampai dengan 36 kita akan ada sesi 2 dan ketiga. Sesi 2 dari jam 2 sampai dengan jam 3. Kemudian sesi ketiga nanti jam 3.30 sampai dengan jam 5. Oke, Mr. Purwan and Mr. Tyson, please welcome. I invite you for coming in here beside the stage. Oke, kita berikan aplaus yang luar biasa untuk dua juri kita. Di situ Mas Purwan bisa? Biar agak longgar. Oke. Oke, dear Mr. Tyson, welcome to Lombok for the second time. I hope you enjoy for this event, especially for English Competition 2026. Oke, teman-teman, inilah Mr. Tyson yang akan menilai teman-teman sekalian bagaimana kelihayan teman-teman tentunya dalam menyampaikan pidato bahasa Inggris. Oke, kalau begitu sebagai gambaran saya akan memberikan gambaran siapa saja yang akan tampil dari nomor 11 sampai dengan 20 terlebih dahulu. Ada Mr. Ramdanur Rizky Raditya, kemudian Syayaza Salsabila, kemudian Mesha Ataya, Silva Julia, Airiniti Sarayusi, DJ Gede Hande Moa Sandes, kemudian lalu Azam Abdurrahim Romadoni, kemudian ada Maya Ayu Lestari, berikutnya ada Talisa Fitria Dewi, dan selanjutnya ada Zahra Aulia Rodiansa. Are you ready? Ya, kok cuma satu orang. Are you ready? Ya, cuma 30 orang. Ini banyaknya pada 50. Are you ready? Ya, pada ngantuk. Ya deh. Oke. Nanti akan langsung dipanggil oleh Mr. Ridwan. Oh, Mr. Ridwan. Oke, akan langsung nama-nama yang dari 11 sampai dengan 20. Dan seperti biasa nanti teman-teman boleh memilih di on stage apakah menggunakan stand mic atau langsung mic. Oke, nanti akan diberikan aba-aba untuk sekarang ini. Oke, selanjutnya saya serahkan ke Mr. Ram.
Oke, untuk menghemat waktu kita langsung aja mulai teman-teman ya. Kita akan langsung mulai dari nomor 11 atas nama Ramdanur Rizky Raditya.
Ketinggian. Mic on check. Mic on check.
Okay, if you're ready, you can start now.
Good afternoon to the honorable judges, respected teacher, and my dear friends. It is truly a pleasure and an honor to stand before you today. Today, we are not just gathered here to share knowledge, but to share a responsibility. A responsibility for the one thing we all have in common, our environment. The forests, the oceans, the rivers, and the skies are priceless gifts entrusted to us. But now, they are calling out urgently for our care, for our action, and for our love. But before I begin, let me invite you to take a moment. Please close your eyes for just a moment. Imagine standing on a mountain, breathing the freshest air you could ever imagine, surrounded by endless forests, rivers that sing to you, and skies so blue they seem infinite. Now open your eyes and realize that vision, that dream, is slipping away faster than we dare to admit. My name is Danur. I'm 17 years old, and I'm currently a student at Mataram 3rd Vocational High School. And today, in this very moment, I'm proud to present my speech entitled, A Call to Protect Our Only Home. Our environment, the heart of all life, is crying out for help. The forest that once stood tall are falling. The ocean that once teemed with life are choking. The air that once nourished us is now heavy with pollution. And the saddest truth, this is the world we've made. Last year alone, fire swept across Kalimantan and Sumatra, leaving the skies turned gray, turning the air unbreathable. But the same hands that broke it can also rebuild it. Every act of kindness toward the earth, no matter how small it is, matters. Every decision to plant a tree, to walk instead of drive, to pick up a piece of trash, sends a message, I care. And when enough of us care, change becomes unstoppable. Let me tell you a story. Once, a man walked along a beach covered with thousands of stranded starfish. He began picking them up one by one and tossing them back gently into the oceans. A passerby saw him and laughed. Why bother? You can't save them all, can't you? But the man smiled, picked up another starfish and said, it matters to this one. Like the man, we may feel small against the enormity of the environmental crisis. But every action, every choice, every decision matters. To the rivers, to the oceans, to the creators, and to the future generation who will inherit this earth. We are not powerless. We are powerful beyond measure when we choose to care. Let me tell you a story. Like Mahatma Gandhi once said, the world has enough for everyone's needs, but not everyone's greed. If we choose to live wisely, take only what we need and give back, there will be enough, not just for ours, but for all living beings. Imagine if every school, every city pledged to protect our resources. Imagine a future where healing was stronger than destruction. So today, I challenge you. When you walk out of this room, carry this message with you. Live it, speak it, share it, and inspire others. Be the voice for the voiceless rivers. Be the defender for the silenced forests. Be the hope for those who cannot speak for themselves. Act not with fear, but with peace love. Act not with anger, but with unstoppable hope. Act not someday, but today. Because the earth cannot wait, neither can we. Let us be remembered not as a generation that stood by and watched the world burn, but as the generation that stood up, that stood together and saved the earth. This is not just a call to action, but this is a call to history. Thank you.
Okay, for next participants, ya selanjutnya peserta selanjutnya yaitu Saza Salsabila.
Gimana cara pakainya? I don't know, sorry. Yes, okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous here, but I'm not. I'm here not to be. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. Maaf ya, aku ulang ya. Nervous soalnya. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, honorable judges, respected everyone, and okay, ulang. Maaf. Honorable judges, respected the audience and everyone here today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty God. It is because of Him we're able to attend this contest. Secondly, may salawat and salam always be delivered to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the judges for giving me this very special opportunity to complete in this contest. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Shaza Salsabila, and I'm from Mandua, Mataram. Today, I stand here not only as a participant, but also as a voice representing the aspiration of young people. Let me to ask you guys, as a young people, what actually we can do? Just scroll TikTok or something like that? Come on guys, it's really about building who we are. We often hear something like, youth are the future of the nation. But let's think for a moment. What kind of future we are actually building? We live in a fast-paced era, and everything is easy with technology. In fact, around 96% of Indonesian youth are connected to the internet. That means almost all of us have access to the knowledge, opportunities, and wider world. But in reality, we're not fully using it. Because why? Because about 91% of young people use the internet mainly for entertainment. But I'm not saying that's wrong, because we all need entertainment. But if it becomes our main habit, then we're no longer controlling technology. Instead, it's controlling us. So that's why everyone, a smart future is not about who is the smartest, but about who can think, choose, and make the most of opportunities. We have all the access, but are we really learning? We have all the information, but can we tell what's true and what's misleading? And this is where we need to change. We need to become a generation that's not only consumptive, but also productive. Not just consumptive, not just consumers, but creators. Now, let's talk about a sustainable future. Don't look too far, just look around us. Environmental issues are becoming more real, like plastic waste, climate change, and unpredictable weather. Indonesia produces millions of tons of waste every year. And you know what? Much of it is not properly managed. So the question is, what have we as young people done? We can start for small actions, like reducing plastic use, no littering, and even just caring more. Because honestly, this earth is not a legacy from our parents. It's a trust we must pass on to the next generation. And last, an inclusive future. We live among so many differences, like religion, backgrounds, even ways of thinking. But sadly, many people are still quick to judge, spread hate, and feel like they're always right. And so, guys, here we are as the young people. We as a young people should be bridges, not walls. We should be voices that unite, not divide. Because we are not just part of the future. We are the ones who shape it. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for everything I've done because I was nervous. That's all for my speech. I hope you're learning something new from it and enjoy it. So thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Nesya Ataya.
Gimana caranya? Coba. Can I start? They say that the future belongs to the young, but I believe that the future belongs to those who dare to shape it. We are not just the future leaders. We are the force shaping the present, which will ultimately define what the future looks like. As a part of a younger generation, we are living in a time of rapid global transformation. Technology is advancing. Societies are evolving, and cultures are becoming more interconnected than ever before. But in the midst of all this progress, we cannot simply stand still and enjoy the benefits. We must keep pace. We must open our minds, not only to innovation, but also to the people around us. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Misha Athaya. I'm from Senior High School 5 Mataram. Today, I would like to deliver a speech entitled Young Generation, Build the Future Together Without Discrimination. Open-mindedness, it's not only about mastering technology or adapting to change. It is about having the courage to break down the invisible barriers that still divide our society. Because what is the value of progress if it can only be enjoyed by a few? What is the value? What is the meaning of all this development if it leaves others behind? Research shows that inequality and discrimination remain serious global issues. According to UNESCO, more than 244 million children and youth worldwide are still out of school. This means millions of young people are denied the basic right to education simply because of where they are born, their economic background, or their social identity. Meanwhile, a report by the World Bank highlights that people with disabilities are significantly less likely to be employed. Not because they lack ability, but because societies often underestimate their potential. So, I ask you, are we truly progressing, or are we just moving forward while leaving others behind? My dear friends, this is the time for us to raise our voices and make social justice the foundation for a more human civilization. But before we speak about the world, we have to see our own surroundings. Are there still a barrier that separate people in our own school, our communities, or within our friendships? Are there still a moment when someone is being judged because they are different? And if that happens, what do we do? Can silence solve injustice? Can indifference heal discrimination? No, of course not. As young people who are educated and aware, we must have the courage to stand up for those who are marginalized. We must speak, not to divide, but to unite, not to judge, but to understand. It's deeply concerning that even in this modern era, we have still bullying there is still bullying around us. And then what we do? Are we just silent? It's deeply concerning even in this modern era. There is someone's around us is treated different with another. Around the world, access to education remain privileged for some. In workplaces, individuals with disabilities are often seen as burdens rather than valuable contributors. Even in our daily lives, people are still labeled and categorized based on their backgrounds, perspective, or their beliefs. But however, I believe that change begins with us, with small, meaningful action. Let me share a simple example from my own experience at my school. In my class, we come from different religious backgrounds, 3 different religions to be exact. Yet, instead of creating distance, these differences bring us closer. We ask each other about our celebration, we show curiosity, and we respect one another without judgment. So, this may seem like a small thing, it is small thing, but it carries a very powerful message that a future without discrimination is begun with us. It is begun with how we treat differences today. So imagine, what can we achieve as a generation if we chose inclusion over division? A generation that chooses empathy over prejudice. The real world is waiting for our real action. A future is not something we inherit. It is something we build. And of course, come on, we can't build it alone. So, together, we can be a a future. Together, we can create the world that belongs to everyone, for everyone, regardless of background, identity, or ability, has an equal opportunity and equal place. Because in the end, the true measure of progress it's not how far we advance, but how many people we bring with us. May we become a generation that leads with compassion, acts with courage, and builds a world that truly belongs to everyone. Thank you for your attention. I hope this message inspires us all to take a part in creating a more inclusive future. Thank you so much. I hope this message.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Silva Julia.
More inclusive future. Thank you so much.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Silva Julia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, dear honorable judges, respected teacher, and all friends. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Silva Julia, and I'm student of SMKN 5 Mataram, majoring in Desain Komunikasi Visual. Today, I'm not here to talk about a subject. I am here to talk about a dream about the future. For me, DKV is not only about drawing, editing photos, or making posters. DKV is about creativity, communication, and expressing ideas to the world. As young people, we have a voice, and through design, we can use our voice in a powerful way. We can create posters to spread awareness, video to inspire others, and designs that can influence people. In DKV, I learned that every color has meaning, every design has a message, and every idea can become something powerful. Creativity is not only a talent, but something we can develop every day. In the future, the world will face many challenges, such as environmental problems and social issues. And I believe that young people like us are part of the solution. With design, we can create campaigns to protect the environment. We can promote inclusivity and spread positive messages. We can help build a smarter, more sustainable, and inclusive future. Some people think vocational students like us don't have a bright future, but I believe the opposite. The world needs creative people. The world needs designers. The world needs young people who are brave enough to make a difference. So, to my fellow students and the young generation here today, I challenge you. Let's not just be spectators of the future. Let's use our voices, our creativity, and our skills to design a world that is smarter, greener, and kinder to everyone. Join me in making a difference because our ideas today are the solutions for tomorrow. I chose DKV because I want to turn my ideas into something meaningful. I want my designs not only to look good, but also to give positive impact to others. And today, I'm proud to say that I'm a DKV student of SMKN 5 Mataram, because creativity is our strongest voice, and together we can design the future. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Airiniti Sarayusi Putri.
Good afternoon, honorable judges and respected guests. First of all, before I continue my speech, allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Airiniti Sarayusi Putri, and I'm student of Senior High School 3 Mataram. And it is a great honor for me to stand here today and share my thoughts about a topic that is very important for all of us. We are often told, you are the leaders of tomorrow. But why tomorrow? Why not today? We are living in a world that is changing faster than ever. Technology is growing, information spreads in seconds. The choice we make today will shape the next generation. In the middle of all this change, one thing is clear. The world does not just intelligent people. It needs courageous young voice. A smarter future is not only about artificial intelligence, robots, or digital innovation. It is about human intelligence, our ability to think critically, to question misinformation, and to use technology with responsibility. As you, we must not be passive user of technology. We must become creator, innovator, and problem solver. Because being smart is just not about knowing everything. It is about using what we know to make things better. But intelligence alone is not enough, but we also need sustainable future. Look around us. Forests are disappearing, oceans are polluted. The climate is changing, and the truth is, we are the generation that will live with the consequence. So we cannot stay silent. Sustainability is just not a trend. It is responsibility. Every small action matters. Reducing waste, saving energy, choosing environmentally friendly lifestyle. When millions of young people take small steps, those steps become movement. And most importantly, we need an inclusive future. A future where no one feels invisible, no one feels unheard, no one feels left behind. Inclusion means giving opportunities to everyone, regardless of gender, background, ability, or social status. It means standing up against bullying. It means choosing kindness over judgment. It means understanding that diversity is just not a threat. It is our greatest strength. Ladies and gentlemen, our points are powerful. History have proven that young people can spark revolution that inspire innovation and transform societies. Age does not determine impact. Courage does. So let us speak not to complain, but to create. Let us act not out of fear, but out of hope. Let us lead not someday, but starting today. Because the future is not something we inherit, it is something we build. And smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future begins with one simple thing, the courage to use our voice. Thank you.
Peserta selanjutnya atas nama DJ Gede Handalwa Sandas.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I am Vijagade Harimasandes from Mansatu Mataram. Did you think about how tired teachers are when teaching? As if they have to juggle side job just to make ends meet. with salaries that barely cover their living expenses. Impact is far lower than other jobs, such as MBG driver, who earn 3 till 4 million rupiah per month. Today, I'm not here to simply say meaningless word, but to seek real solution for teacher welfare. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a talented student in remote area losing inspiration simply because their teacher has to leave early to work another job just to make a living. We are not just losing the teacher's time, we are losing the immense potential of the nation's children. If teachers are prosperous, then the teacher could focus mainly on the children development, so that we can get better quality of education. Because prosperous teacher will no longer be splitting their minds between blackboard and side job. They will have many time to design creative lesson and pay full attention to the student unique characteristic and resulting in higher quality. Ladies and gentlemen, teacher welfare shouldn't be limited to one government period. It must be a system that must be maintained throughout time. Teachers who enjoy sustainable prosperity are those who no longer divide their minds between the blackboard and side job. There is easy knowing that their retirement is secured through a decent pension system. Their audience inclusive means not allowing the dedication of teachers that place in the rural area, those who are far hike on mountain or by the ocean, to be eroded by the high cost of basic necessities. Prosperity must be inclusively, whether for those who are in big city or those who are in underdeveloped area. Let's take a moment to look at Finland. There, the key to the world-based education lies not in complicated curriculum, but in one simple principle: trust and equality. Finland proves that teachers in the smaller school in remote Lapland enjoy the same dignity, facilities, and welfare as those teaching in downtown. There is no caste system and no so-called stepchildren in education. Ladies and gentlemen, let us stop simply praising their dedication in word. Let us realize real and sustainable prosperity from the cities to the ends of the ocean. Because when we honor teacher, we actually honoring the future of this nation. What we should do from the now on? First, the government should focus on prioritizing education budget to be allocated directly to its needs. Not another policy like how we are prioritizing MBG rather than basic and primary needs of education. Then, as student and parent, we are obligated to appreciate that very dedication that our teacher give to us. Simply by not disrespecting them and discriminating them. Lastly, from a person called teacher creates all other profession in the world. Bluebirds fly across the sea, searching for a place to stay. Thank you for listening to me. Have a very nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Lalu Ozin Abdurrahim Ramadhani.
Check. Afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry. Afternoon, everyone.
dear honorable jury, dear attendants, respectable teacher and respectable competitor. First, I want you to tell me, what's the first thing that pops up in mind when I say the word future? No, not that rapper. Not that rapper Future. Yeah, future, like masa depan. What's the first thing that pops up in mind? Flying cars? No? Skyscrapers, painting the skylines of cities, and perhaps trains that shoots to the moon. All that? Nobody? Just to make it clear, anything you think of wouldn't be true without energy. Back to the most fundamental things when it comes to advancement and innovation, energy. But the problem here is, when it comes to energy, us humans are still very fragile because we are dependent on unrenewable energy sources, which causes pollutions and damage our ozone layer. But why is it that this ozone layer thing is really important? Unless you want to be cooked alive on this rocky planet, sure, it was not a big of a deal. Because our generators, they release pollutants, and that harmful gases is the one that hurts our ozone layer. And that's where renewable energy comes to save the day. Today I want to talk about renewable energy sources, especially electricity generation. But before I get any further ado in my speech, I want to introduce myself. Everyone, my name is Lalu Azim Abdurrahim Ramadhani. Don't try to remember it, it's too long. Just call me Azim. Okay? So, I'm from Vocational High School 3 Mataram, and my major is actually relevant to the topic I'm going to talk about today, which is renewable energy for electricity generation. My major is electrical engineering. And us in the electrical engineering major really supports renewable energy for electricity generation. So let's get into it already, all right? Take a look at the world we live in today. A world where the airs, they grow heavier, hotter. I can't go out for a few, hours outside. I was still, white. And then a few minutes, I take a look at it and, oh, why am I getting darker? It's like I'm getting a sunburn just by going outside a few minutes. A world where the oceans get warmer. A world where climate and seasons aren't as predictable as they were before. That is an indication of a climate change. Climate change. When it comes to climate change, one of its greatest driver is this issue, which is unrenewable energy sources to generate electricity. The principle behind electricity generation, I want to go a little technical here, is basically, we're going back to 8th grade, I guess, about this. You guys remember this? Oersted electromagnetic induction? No one? You run a current through a wire, and then it generates a magnetic field. That's basically the entire Oersted electromagnetic induction, oversimplified. Well, we know now that electricity generates magnetic field, but can magnetic field generate electricity? And so that's where Faraday, how do I say it? Yeah. He made this contraption where he puts a magnet in between the two, and then he have like this copper wire shaped so it could rotate. and then it connected the wire to a light bulb. At first, nothing happened. Because how do you generate electricity is basically you got a copper wire. Here in this copper wire, you go to like, there's a lot of free electrons, okay? And when we talk about free electrons, imagine it like a hard metal concert. People was just running around, screwing around, screaming and shouting. Yeah, they were not organized. And how do you generate electricity is you make them organize, these free electrons. And by doing that, you need a magnetic field. But not just a static one, but a dynamic one, the one that moves. And so you rotate this copper wire, and then the light bulb turns on as an indication that electricity is being generated. Apply that to a bigger scale, and that's how you get generators. Like you see in Ampanan, maybe? Or you see in, I forgot where's the other one. But that's just the basic principle of how you generate electricity. Basically, you need this magnet to spin and generate electricity. The only problem now is how do we make it spin? And how do we make it spin so powerful that it could generate the amount of electricity needed to be transferred and transmitted to our homes? That's when you use this huge turbine. It could be the size of a school bus, which is pretty insane to me. And to spin such huge thing, you need like this very powerful steam jet. How do you get a steam? You boil water, run it through this like pressurized tube, and so it would go out as a steam jet. But now, how do you boil water? You need heat. How do you get heat? You burn something. And that burning something process, you need something flammable. And that something flammable is coal and fossil fuel, unfortunately. There are two main issues with this. First being is that when you burn coal and fossil fuels, they release harmful gases, pollutants, as their waste being burned. Second is that it would one day run out, so it's not sustainable for the long term. And so that's where renewable energy comes to save the day. Like Superman comes to save the day. Renewable energy in particular doesn't need any of that burning process and all of that complicated stuffs, and to spin a turbine and then to release harmful gases. They don't. Especially solar panels. They just directly convert sunbeam to electricity, which might sound like magic at first. It's photovoltaic effect, guys. It's physics. Again. And then don't be pessimistic about renewable energy, since most of us here might have consumed the propaganda. Nuclear is dangerous, because of the Chernobyl accidents, or how, renewable energy is not sustainable and all of that stuff. That's just not a thing, okay? It's the future. In particular meaning of why is it the future? Well, because unless we want to drive humanity into extinction, we could just keep staying, dependent on renewable energy, because one day they would run out. And then the next thing we know, everything would be harder, going to school, walking, and you can't watch TV anymore because generators shut down. And as for how is renewable energy in the world we live in today, it's actually pretty optimistic, In the span of the last century, we could move from the world where we are dependent on steam machines and then coal and a fossil fuel. We have come to this level of civilization where we could convert sunlight to straight electricity, or we could just split atom to generate heat, to boil water and then spin turbine generates electricity. It's insane. And that is just in the last century. Imagine what we could make in the next like 1 or 2 decades. What such fascinating technologies are coming up ahead on us. And by now, renewable energy has replaced over like 30% of the global electricity generation worldwide. Pretty insane, right? And then, what can we as youth do to contribute anything on this hardship of converting to a more sustainable future? Well, to put it, there's not actually much I could do since I'm no big contractor with a lot of money on my legs and all that stuff. But what I could do is probably learn more about green technologies, affect and influence others to convert, and perhaps I could reduce waste or save electricity at home by doing the usual turn off the lamp when it's morning or afternoon. Something like that. And I hope that you guys could do it too. I'm pretty sure that the message I'm trying to deliver here is having a much errors, but just close it already. I want to close my speech today by saying, guys, billions of clusters of galaxy in our cosmos, millions of stars, millions of planets, and probably a few that was Earth-like. Yet here we end up, as what Carl Sagan, a famous astronomist you might know, quoted, this pale blue dot we live in. At the end, it is our home, our only home. You might say we would, start to colonize Mars and Lunar in a few years. No. This is our home, our only home. And so, let's with all of us try to protect and make this Earth a sustainable future for mankind, for humanity. Because truly, we are capable of so much more, and it's just sad to see it all would end here. And so, that's all from me today, I think. And I'm very sorry if there are one or few words that might hurt. And I want to thank you so much for the attention. I'm Azim, and thank you.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya bersama Maya Ayu Lestari.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Good afternoon, esteemed judges, fellow contestant, and audience member. How are you today? I hope you all have a great day today. I am Maya Lestari from State Islamic Senior High School 2 of Mataram. For today's speech, I would like to present a speech entitled "The Future Starts With Us" under the theme "Building a Smarter, Sustainable, and Inclusive Future." Okay, guys, I would like to start with a simple question. Have you ever complained about something but did nothing to change it? Yeah, maybe about stress at school, unfair treatment, or maybe about the future that feels uncertain. We talk about it, we post about it, but when it really matters, we choose to stay silent. Okay, today I stand here not just to speak, but to remind all of us that our voices matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we often hear people say, "You are the generation is that will shape the future." But honestly, the future is not far away. It starts from what we do today. In our daily lives, we face many problems. But the real question is, do we care enough to take care about it? First of all, let's talk about a smarter future. Being smart is not only about getting good grades. I've seen students who are excellent in exams, but easily believe in everything they see on social media. Sometimes we scroll, we like, and we share without even thinking if it's true or not. Is that really smart? A smarter generation is a generation that thinks critically. For example, when we see something viral, instead of sharing it immediately, but we stop, we think, and we check if it is true or not. Because being smart is not only about knowing everything, but about thinking before acting. That small habit can make a big difference. Next, let's talk about a sustainable future. That sounds like a big issue, but it starts from small things. But it actually starts from simple things. In our daily lives, we often see plastic waste everywhere. In classrooms, in schoolyards, even in public places. But sometimes we think and we say, "Oh, it's just one patch of trash. Why should I care? It's just one part. It's just one piece." Like that. And we just leave it. But imagine if millions of people think the same way, that one piece becomes a huge problem. And not only that, we also forget the simple things like turning off lights or saving water. But imagine if we change it, like bringing your own tumbler and saving electricity. That is already a step toward a better future. Finally, we talk about an inclusive future. Sometimes we stay in our comfort zone. We choose friends that is familiar to us. But what about those who feel left out? Maybe someone who's different, maybe someone who is quiet, or someone who just need a friend. A truly inclusive world is where everyone feels seen, accepted, and respected. For example, when we see someone something alone, we invite them to join. When someone is different, we don't judge, but we understand. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be young, but that does not mean we are the powerless. We can act, we can speak, and we can create change. So, in conclusion, a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future is not just a dream. It is a choice to think better, to care more, and to respect others. So, starting today, let's not just talk about change. Let's be the change, because the future is shaped by us. Okay, guys, that's all from me. I hope this speech will bring a lot of beneficial to you all. Thank you for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke. Peserta selanjutnya atas nama Talisa Fitria Dewi.
The future is ours. As young people, we're often told to wait for our turn. But what if the future cannot wait? Hi, good afternoon. I'm Salisa Fitra Dewi from SMA Negeri 1 Mataram. Today, I'm here standing for everyone as a young generation that want to make a better future with sustainable, smarter, and inclusive. But hold up. Can I ask something? Do you guys want to make a better future? It's so obvious, but it means a lot. Everyone would say yes. But what should we do to get a better, brighter, and greater future? Because in today's world, there's like a lot of young that actually losing directions, and in fact, there's like a lot of factors that holding us back. So what's the factors? Let me tell you. First, the lack of critical thinking for young generation. In the world we're dominated by technology and AI, there's like a lot of young people that too dependent on it, isn't it? Yeah. And instead of thinking deeply, even when study, I know it's helping, but we can tell the difference between utilizing and being utilized. And this problem becomes more visible when it comes to social media, spreading hoaxes, making a propaganda, and making AIs with AI, because there's like a lot of inappropriate content in social media. Second, bad lifestyles. I will give you an example. Smoking, drunk underage, undisciplined, and more negative things. Remember, when we harm ourselves and our environment, it's also harming our own future. Third, intolerance. You know, is a really common case right now because we're as teenagers sometimes cannot really control our emotion. So we get offended by something that actually unnecessary, and then arguing on small things and disrespecting others' opinions can making a big problems. We're denial because we can't control our emotions based on the three factors that I've explained it before. So what is the main questions? The main question is, how can we fix that? Here is it. First, be smarter. Build a smart mindset and let's start thinking critically. Do not get easily influenced by bad things. Use your phone to learning, not just for scrolling. I mean, there's nothing wrong. AIs help us study. I do it too. Because it's really helping and flexible. I admit it. But it becomes wrong when you overly dependent on it. How to change it? Limit your screen time right now. Instead, using technology and your gadgets to learn new skills such as learning languages, design, coding, and more than that. Remember, be smart, not just active. Second, be sustainable. Let's start with the easiest one. Turn off the lights when it's day, turn off the water taps, and use vehicle when it's necessary. Because if you want to like go in short distance market or place, just walking. There's nothing wrong with walking, right? Because like small thing create a big impact. And the last one is respect diversity. Stop bullying. I always say this in my every speech. Let's grow together and help each other. Because in keeping our mind that everyone has equal opportunities. Guys, trust me, do not get afraid to be failed, because there's like 100 young people around the world who are ready making a change. Like Boyan Slap from Netherlands, who created solutions to clean our oceans. Malala Yousafzai from Pakistan, who already fought for our equal education. And we have young change maker in Bali, like Melati Wisjan, who that create innovations, want to produce plastic waste. Guys, let's start from today. If not us, then who? Stop watching and start changing. You never too young to be lead, and you never too be old to be learned. Kofi Annan. That's all for me. I'm Solisa Vichadevi. See you and goodbye.
Peserta selanjutnya atas nama Zahra Aulia Rodianza.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, respected judges and my dear friends. My name is Zahra Aulia Rodianza, for short is Aulia. I'm from Senior High School, Tribun Mataram. Today, I stand here to talk about something important that will change the way we see the world. Now, we live in a modern era built with technology. We can get access to anything, anytime, and anywhere. However, this is where the real challenge begins. With these powerful tools, we must be smart and use it wisely. It's like a double-edged sword that can bring many benefits, but also risks that may be potentially harmful. I'm not saying that technology is a bad thing. We should learn how to not let it control us. There are many benefits for technology if we use it in the right way, such as sources for learning purposes like digital textbook, entertainment media, tools for managing long-distance relationship, and many more. However, in this era, many young people rely entirely on digital technology, causing them to forget how to think logically because they depend too much on its convenience. Some example we can see are the use of AI for cheating during exam, smartphone becoming distraction during learning, easy access to inappropriate content, and cyberbullying. Technology is just one of the many challenges we face as the younger generation. Beyond that, we also face social issues, environmental concern, and the need to build more inclusive society. Among the many impacts of technology, one of the most concerning issues today is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is the use of technology to harassing, threatening, embarrassing, or targeting another person. Cyberbullying can happen due to a lack of empathy and tolerance from the bully toward the victim. In the digital world, everyone is on the same platform, but with different background. And often, intolerance arises because of these differences. Victims of cyberbullying often experience depression, panic attacks, excessive anxiety, self-harm, and many more. As the younger generation, we must anticipate and prevent this by building tolerance, controlling what we post and type on social media, choosing good friends in our social circles, block and reporting cyberbullying action, and lastly, discussing the danger of cyberbullying with family and close friends. By using technology wisely and responsibly, we're not only improving our lives today, but also creating a sustainable future for the next generation. Change doesn't start from something big, it starts from us. So let us be the generation that makes a difference. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya bersama Maulana Tariq Hamdan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Guys, I want to share my little story. Last month, I had this Indonesian homework and observation report. I opened ChatGPT, type a quick prompt, and hit enter, and 15 seconds later, boom, it was done. Yeah, just like that. Back when I was junior high, the same kind of assignment like writing an argumentative essay would take me 3 whole hours, 2 cups of milk, and a lot of staring at a blank page and feeling totally stuck. 15 seconds versus 3 hours, mind-blowing, right? But you know guys, that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept asking myself, when that report was appeared on my screen, was it really my work? Am I the one playing the plan, or am I just sitting in the back, hoping everything turns okay? So today, in the next 5 minutes, I am Maulana Tariq Hamdani from Kota Mataram, who shares something simple but powerful. If we treat ChatGPT as co-pilot instead of autopilot, it can totally change everything for the better. Let's picture 2 roads. The first one is autopilot, the lazy copy-paste road. You ask ChatGPT something, grab whatever it spits out, maybe change a couple words so the teacher doesn't suspect anything, and submit. I see this happening all the time at school. My friends used to have such strong difference opinion. Now, a lot of their essays sound exactly the same because they all copy the same AI voice, right? And honestly, they're practicing how to become replaceable. Then there's second row, co-pilot. These are the kids who argue with the AI, push it, make it better, and come out with sharper and more creative. That's the difference between the people AI will replace and who will build the next version of AI. So, how do you choose the co-pilot road? I turn it to 3 little habits that I use every single time. Habit 1, never send in the first draft. The first answer is just usual okay and average. I always wrestle with it. Rewrite the sentence, ask why it's spread that way, and dig me into the source. Habit 2, make ChatGPT explain everything step by step. I treat like the most patient teacher ever. When I say, show me every single step, it stops being just a chatbot and start to teaching me for real. Habit 3, push back and correct it. If something feels wrong, I ask, wait, why this way? I give my own idea, argue my point, even if I'm wrong sometimes. But that's exactly how we keep our brain sharp. This habit to ChatGPT from something we lean on too much into pure rocket fuel. So remember guys, I'm not here to tell you to stop using AI, but honestly, I use it too. But that's exactly why I want to invite all of us to use it more wisely. Not to depend on it or take a shortcut, but to keep thinking, questioning, and growing with AI as co-pilot, not an autopilot. Because when you use it this way, it's not just the smart student who improve. It's also help those who need to more times, who struggle or who are too shy to ask questions or speak up in the class. So in the end, everyone gets a chance to learn, everyone gets a chance to understand, everyone gets a chance to grow up. But only if we choose not just to copy the answer. And there is even research that support this study by Wicaksono and Smiring in 2023 found that depending too much on AI can hurt our critical thinking. So this journal is the perfect way to fight with that. Do it for 30 days and trust me, something clicks. You don't feel like you are just using AI anymore. You feel like you are in the pilot seat. So here's my message to you, to everyone. I'm not afraid of AI taking over the world. What actually scares me is a generation lets AI take over their mind. Start your own co-pilot journal tonight. Don't just use ChatGPT. Build it at thinking, feeling, dreaming. Because the future doesn't belong to the machine. It's belong to the kids who learn like us, who learn to fly with their eyes instead of underneath it. Haven't started. Now it's your turn to go prove it. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Start your own co-pilot journal tonight. Don't just use
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Astri Amaya Yumna.
It's what kids who learn like us, who learn to fly with their eyes instead of underneath it. Haven't started. Now it's your turn to go prove it. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes. Everyone wants to be the voice of a generation. Everyone wants the microphone. But honestly, the real heroes of the future won't be the one who are loudest. They'll be the one who actually listen to what the world was crying for. In a world that's getting louder every day, what we really need is understanding. Everyone's trying so hard to speak up, yet how many of us actually listen to what they're truly saying? It's so easy to expressing our voice, but is truly listening just as easy? As the younger generation, it is our responsibility to start a listening movement. Based on the latest report from United Nations, there are about 1.3 billion of us worldwide. While in our country, Indonesia, the BPS says there are about 66 million of youth. But with so many of us, why is there still so much fake news and drama on the internet? Why is the earth still getting hotter even though we've been taught about the environmental since day one? And why do so many people still feel like their voices just don't matter? Isn't it because all this time we've just been hearing without actually listening and doing something about it? To our honorable judges, the organizers of this competition, and to my fellow senior high school students who are watching this, a very pleasant day to you all. I am Astri Amayumna, and I'm from State Senior High School 5 Mataram. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the judges for your time and to this community for creating a space where our voices actually matter. On this special occasion, I want to deliver my speech titled, Listening to the Future. We often think that to change the world, to realizing the dream of living in a safe and comfortable place, we need to shout loudest. But look at where that has gotten us. We have the internet, but we have more drama than dialogue. We have the science, but we have more opinions than action on climate change. To achieve a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future, we don't need more megaphones. We need more open ears. First, being truly smart starts with listening. Access to information is like a double-edged sword at our fingertip. It can be a light that shows us the way, or fog that makes us lost. We often get caught up in how fast we can get information that we forget how accurate it actually is. We shouldn't just be consumers who take in everything. We need to be curators who choose carefully. Without strong filters, we'll just get lost in a sea of fake news and opinions with no real facts. That's why listening deeply is the real foundation of our future. We have to learn to listen, not just to give an answer, but to understand and find the truth. Being able to be quiet, to pay attention,
And to analyze is the first step toward acting smart. Because in the end, the smartest generation isn't the one with the loudest voice, but the one who can hear the truth in the middle of all the lies. Second, building a sustainable future means listening to the earth. We've been taught about the environmental since our very first day in school. We know the theories, we see the headlines, and we hear the warnings. Yet, the world is still getting hotter every day, and our oceans are filling with plastic. Why? Because for too long, we've treated this warning like a background noise, something we heard but never truly listened to. We treated environmental issues as just like another school subject to memorize, not as a cry for help that requires us to change. To be a sustainable generation, we need to stop listening. We must stop being deaf to the earth. Listening to the earth means we stop ignoring the alarms and start to creating space for each other. Also, we have to start changing our daily lifestyle. It's like a moving beyond just knowing there's a problem to actually feeling the urgency to fix it. Because a smarter and inclusive future isn't built by, because a sustainable future isn't built by those who are just talking about saving the internet, but by those who are quiet enough to hear what the earth actually needs. And third, creating an inclusive space means listening to the silence. Inclusivity isn't just about inviting everyone to sit at the same table. It's about making sure that even the quietest person at the table is being heard. We live in a world that rewards the loudest and the boldest. But often, the most important lesson comes from those who have been ignored, the marginalized, the trivially abled, and those whose voices are drowned out by the majority. If we only listened to people who talk and look like us, we aren't growing. We're just living in an echo. As the youth, it is our job to start listening to the silence. We have to have the courage to step outside our own circle and start believing in our potential. Being inclusive means we stop trying to be the center of attention and start creating space for others to speak. Because a truly inclusive world isn't one where everyone speaks louder at the same time, but one where every single voice, no matter how small it is given the respect of being heard. In the end, the future isn't something that just has given to us. It is something that we build, but we cannot build something we don't understand. Either it's the technology we use, the planet we live on, or the people we share it with. Everything starts with listening. Let's be the generation that doesn't just make a sound, but make a difference. Because a smarter future isn't start with a new app or new gadget. It starts with a simple act from us. Be quiet and actually listening to each other. Thank you for the attention and thank you for truly listening.
Peserta selanjutnya atas nama Indri Andika NB.
Tes. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that data from UNESCO reveals that only 0.001% of the Indonesian population who reads regularly, or about 1 in 1,000 people? This is one of the points I will bring up in my speech entitled Low Literacy Rates in Indonesia. Greetings to the judges and everyone in attendance. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Indri Andika. and I'm from Senior High School Tribun Mataram. Nowadays, in our daily lives, we more often see people of all age spending hours on their gadgets rather than reading books, as if all the reading activities have been replaced by scrolling on social media. Today, everyone can access all the information in the world with easily and instantly. But sometimes they fail to understand the content of that information. A real life example is most students prefer the easy way by searching online instead of looking in their books. As a result, they may finish quickly, but they don't truly understand the material. Alright, I would like to briefly explain what is literacy. Literacy is the ability to read, write, and understanding how to process information for daily needs. Based on the data I found, and as I mentioned earlier, UNESCO reveals that only 0.001% of the Indonesian population who reads regularly. Additionally, the 2022 PISA rankings place Indonesia 63rd out of 81 countries with a score of 359. In fact, while approximately 75% of school-age children can read, but they don't fully comprehend the content of what they read. These data indicate that low literacy rates in Indonesia remain relatively low. Some contributing factors include a lack of reading from an early age, unevenly distributed educational facilities, limited books production, and the increasing dominance of gadgets in daily activities. Low literacy certainly has an impact in our lives. For example, it leads to poor quality education, difficulty in analyzing information, susceptibility due to fake news, to a reluctance to read, a decline in individual creativity, and can even trigger conflicts resulting from misunderstandings in receiving information. However, this situation is not reversible. There are several steps we can take to improve the literacy. First, fostering a habit of reading from an early age, both at home and at school. Second, increasing access to books and utilizing libraries as places for learning and seeking information. Third, using gadgets wisely. For example, by reading educational articles, e-books, or other sorts of knowledge online. As students, we certainly play a vital role in promoting literacy. We can start by reading a few pages of our favorite novel, or sharing knowledge with friends through discussion. With these simple steps, we can gradually improve reading culture and literacy in society. Therefore, I would like to reiterate that the various data regarding low literacy rates in Indonesia are a stark reality, and their impact can affect the quality of our human resources. Now, will we remain ranked 63rd out of 81 countries, or will we strive to improve the situation? The choice now lies in all over our hands. Through this opportunity, I would like to invite all of you here to start improving Indonesian literacy. We can begin with simple things, such as reading the news, making a simple note or diary, chatting with friends, and calculating change in our daily lives. All of these are part of literacy. So remember, literacy is not just about reading, it is about understanding all the information around us and getting knowledge that can shape our future. A nation with high literacy rates will naturally foster a critical thinking citizenry. As Barack Obama once said, Reading is important. If you know how to read, then the whole world opens up to you. So, let us read more, let us learn more, and let us grow more. I think this is all I have to share. I hope what I have presented here will be beneficial for all of us. Thank you for your attention.
Peserta selanjutnya atas nama Nuruddin Alfa.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear noble judges and dear audience, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nura Fatin Aufa, a student of Vocational High School 5 Mataram, and I come from Narmada. As someone who lives near Narmada, I grew up seeing Narmada Park not just as a place, but as something close to me. It's more than a destination. It's part of my daily life, my surrounding, and slowly a part of my identity. Therefore, today I would like to deliver a speech entitled Narmada Park as a Historical Heritage in Lombok. Narmada Park was built in 1727 by King Anak Agung Gede Ngurah Karangasem, a Balinese king who ruled parts of Lombok at that time. It was created as a royal garden and a place for religious ceremonies. The park represents Mount Rinjani, a sacred mountain for the people of Lombok. Narmada Park is not only meaningful for local people, but also for visitors who come from different places. It offers not only beauty, but also a chance to learn about history, culture, and tradition. When people visit this place, they are not just seeing a park. They are experiencing a story that has been preserved for generations. But Narmada Park is not only about the past, it's also about the future. As young people, we are not just the next generation, we are the present. We have the power to decide whether places like Narmada Park will continue to live or slowly be forgotten. In smarter future, we must learn from history, not ignore it. In a sustainable future, we must protect not only nature, but also our cultural heritage. And in an inclusive future, we must ensure that everyone has the opportunity to experience and appreciate places like Narmada Park. Our role as youth is not small. We can start by understanding the history of Narmada Park by sharing its story and by raising awareness. We can use our voice, our ideas, and even social media to make people care. We can also take simple action, like keeping the environment clean and respecting cultural values. For me, Narmada Park is more than just a historical site. It's a part of my identity. I grew up near this place, and I have seen how it connects people, culture, and belief. That is why preserving it is not only a responsibility, but a commitment. We cannot just enjoy its beauty today and ignore its future tomorrow. In a conclusion, Narmada Park is not only a symbol of the past, but also a reflection of our future. As the youth, our voice matters and our action matter. Let us be the generation that protects, respects, and preserves our cultural heritage and natural wealth for a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future. Because if not us, then who? And if not now, then who? Thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peserta selanjutnya atas nama Astri Aulia Isnaini.
Hello, everyone. Before I start the speech, I wanted to say hello to the audience and the judges. Hello, judges, good afternoon. And hello, audience, good afternoon. As we gather here, I hope everyone's in a good conditions. And as I stand here honorably, I want to tell you, what if I told you that a future is something that we should not wait for? And what if I told you that future begins with the youth? And yes, the future begins with the youth. And that is why today I want to deliver my speech entitled, The Youth Begins the Future. And I want to make this speech more specific. I want to talk about the youth in Indonesia, the youth generation. And before I start my speech, before I continue, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Astri from Senior High School 3 of Mataram. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about future, we are not talking about tomorrow, but we are talking about the choices we make today. And when we talk about the future of Indonesia, we always have to mention one important force. Does anyone here knows what's that one important force? No? It's okay, guys. That one important force is the generation youth of Indonesia. People often think that we are the leaders of tomorrow, but hey, I think we are more than that, okay? And you guys have to believe it. We are more than just the leaders of tomorrow. We are the change makers of today. You see, Indonesia is full of potential, and I think that's a very, very interesting. Indonesia has a diversity that we have so much cultures, we have so much creativity, and we have a natural beauties that people around the world agrees. It's a fact. But at the same time, Indonesia is facing so many challenges until these days. Like, for example, I'm gonna give you an example, okay? This is a real example. Like, environmental problems are becoming more and more serious until these days. And then there's also overuse. Technology is growing up so fast, and people thinking that technology is everything, while it's not. And this one problem that I think it's still horrible that it exists in modern era. It is a lot of people in Indonesia still experience this. It is inequality and exclusion. That's horrible, right? And I want to tell you that the real question of Indonesia is not, does Indonesia have any future because of that issues that happening until these days? Or maybe what kind of future does Indonesia have? But I think the real question is, it's us. What kind of future the youth of Indonesia is gonna build for this country? And on that note, I wanted to give everyone some tips on how we build a better country, a better Indonesia. Okay, I'm gonna start with first, how we will build a smarter future. You see, we have a technology that's, you can find anything on social media and stuff, but social media has two sides that's, I think, positive and negative. The positive sides of social media is you can create content, creativity, you can connect with your loved one from far ways, but at the same time, there's a lot of misread information in social media that's, I think, has a very, very bad effects, even hates on social media, cyberbullying, and that's very negative. On that note, how to change that? We have to start to see you think people are like smart from their grades, right? I mean, lots of teachers maybe see the students, if they have a good grades, then they are smart. But I think, no. I think people who are smart, the way they think critically and also the way they use technology, very wise and very careful. Because I think a smart country is not built by advanced technology, but it's built by a people who use technology wisely and careful. Second, if we want a sustainable environment, if we want a sustainable future, we must pay attention to the environment, okay? We heard a lot about environmental problems in Indonesia. We heard about floods, and then we heard about over plastic use, and then pollutions, climate change, but we still didn't make any change, right? Because people think that change has to be big, but in fact, that change has to start with small actions that become bigger if you already did it. Because I think loving Indonesia is not just only by showing voice, but it's about showing actions too. Like what Michael Jackson said, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me. Does anyone? I don't know the lyrics, okay? And I'm gonna continue with the third idea. If you want an inclusive future, I think we have to learn how to respect differences, because our country has a diversity. We have different cultures, we have different religions, we have different backgrounds, and I think we must learn on how to change hate into loving, judgment into understanding, and also division into unity. Because I think build a better country is not only just by making a voice for your country, but it's also about what? No one's gonna know? No, you make better country because you're not only willing to speak, but also to listen, okay? And my dear friends, we should never underestimate the power of young generation, because a young mind can create ideas, a young heart can create compassions, and also a young voice can create change. So, my friends, let's just not wait until we are older to make difference, okay? Let's start now, let's begin now. It begins with our choices, our actions, and all of that above. It begins with our voices, all right? And before I end this speech, I have a very, I don't know if this is really interesting or this is just a small hook, okay? To make the inspiration of the younger generation becoming more bigger. Okay, let's start. They say we are too young to lead, too loud, too wild, too fast to read. But what if we are exactly the future needs? The voice, the fire they cannot defeat. Jeez, did I just beat Tupac on a rap battle? Okay, sorry. And I think that's all from me. I'm sorry if I got a little bit too fast for speaking, and I hope everyone understand because this is a really, really big impact from us as the young generation. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope everyone in here have a great day.
Oke, sebelum kita lanjut, untuk teman-teman yang ada di dalam ruangan, untuk menjaga kondisi suaranya, biar lebih tenang ya, biar kami lebih jelas mendengarkan para peserta. Sekali lagi untuk teman-teman yang ada di ruangan, ya, suaranya tolong dipelankan supaya kami lebih jelas mendengarkan para peserta. Oke, selanjutnya Winona Fazluna.
Tes. Tes.
We are taught to answer questions perfectly in exams, but life rarely gives us a multiple choice test. So, if education is supposed to prepare us for the future, then why are we still so unprepared for the reality? Good afternoon, respected judges and my dear friends. I'm Winona Fazuna, a student from Senior High School 5 Mataram. Like many of you, I'm just a student, a teenager trying to understand the world. People say we're just a small voice in a big world, but today I'm not here to be just a small voice or to follow the fate laid before us. I'm here to challenge it, to speak up, and to be the voice of a generation that dares to think, to act, and change the future. We, as young people, are often told to study hard, get good grades, and enter a good school. But I once saw students who always got high scores in class, but when they asked to explain, they stay silent. They only memorize answers for their exams instead of truly understanding them. In that moment, they realized they were never truly learning. Why? Because we are taught to chase scores, but not taught to chase understanding. And because of that, many of us are trapped in the same cycle. We study for exams, we chase scores, and we pass, and then we forget. And then we forget. And then we forget. And then we forget. I'm sorry. Oh. So, I'm here to speak for a future that is smarter in thinking, more sustainable, more responsible in actions, and more human in the way we treat each other. So, how exactly the future I want looks like? First, I want a future where people are thinking logically. We need a future where people not just memorize information, but think logically, question deeply, and make wise decisions. Today, we live in a world full of information, but according to research from MIT, false information spreads up 6 times faster than the truth online. if we are not careful, we become a generation that spreads misinformation instead of truth. And that is why education must change. It must not only teach us what to think, but how to think. But how to think. Not only teach us what to think. To think. Let's teach us what to think. But as a young generation, I'm sorry. Students. As young generation, we must start thinking more critical. So guys, I believe education must change because it influences us how to think more logical. And if people more start to think more logically, then the future we want can be brighter for everyone. So, second, I want a future where people are aware of their impact. We need a future where people understand that every action they take has consequences, not only for themselves, but also for the world around them. For the world around them. In Indonesia alone, we produce around 68 million tons of waste every year. It pollutes our land and oceans. It affects not only the environment, but also our health and the future generation. And as students, we can start small by and we can create ripple effects. As students, we can start small by reducing plastic use, using reusable items, and conserving water and electricity. For after and thinking logically. After impact. And guys, I believe if we, as young generation, we can start small with a small, like what I just said. Those actions may seem small, but they shape habits, and habits shape the future. A sustainable future is not built by people who merely know what is right, but by people who care enough to act on it. When we combine knowledge, awareness, and responsibility, even small choices like refusing single use of plastic can create ripple effects that make our country cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable. And last but not least, I want a future where differences are respected. We want a future where everyone respects differences and treat others with empathy, no judgment. Indonesia is built on diversity. Different cultures, backgrounds, and regions are part of who we are. Yet discriminations, quick judgment, and bullying still happen, even among students. And that is why education matters. It's not enough to know what subjects on books, but I think true education is about teaching us how to be good human beings. And thank you. And as young people, we must take a stand. We must choose kinder of ego. We must stand against unfairness, and we must respect people for who they are. So now the question is not, can we change the future? But the real question is, are we brave enough to change the future? Because the future is not something we just wait for. It is something we create through every choice we make today. And it is created by a generation that dares to think, to act, and change by us. And we are not just students preparing for exams. We are a generation preparing for the future. And we are the ones who will decide how that future. Thus, So we are not the students preparing for exams. We are generation preparing for the future, and we are the ones who will decide how that future looks like. When future. Guys, this is not just my voice. This is a voice of this generation, and this is the future we choose to build. A future that is smarter in thinking, more sustainable, and more inclusive. And I believe if we choose to learn with purpose, to act with awareness, and treat others with empathy, then the future we dream of is not impossible. It is already beginning right now. Thank you so much.
Oke. Selanjutnya atas nama Egi Ridho Urrahman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our honorable judges, respected teachers, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin with one statement. Every day, without realizing it, we are a part of a problem. Oh, why do I suddenly state that we are a part of a problem? Wait a second. Everyone, what is this? That's right. Very great. This is a plastic bag. We use this thing just a few minutes or 1 hour, but it stays hundreds of years in the environment. Not only this, we throw away food while the resources to produce it are wasted. And we scroll on our phone while the world around us slowly heats up. And here is the reality. Our planet is being damaged faster than it can recover. According to the global environmental reports, around 8 million tons of plastic enter the ocean every year, everyone. This causes damage to the ecosystem. Temperatures are rising up and extreme weather is becoming more frequent. But the most important question is not what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? The real question is what we are going to do with that. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where youth come in. This is where we come in. Because the power of youth is not just only on ideas, it is in action. So today, I'm Egi Ridho Rahman from Vocational High School, Tribun Mataram, would like to invite all of you in this room in order to shape a future that is smarter, more sustainable, and more inclusive, starting from a real environmental solutions. So there are 3 main points, everyone. First, smarter future. Environmental problems are not caused only by lack of resources, but often by lack of awareness and critical thinking. Many people still do not realize that their daily habits affect the planet. So this is where youth must act smarter. Smarter here means that you understand the impact of your action, even if it's small action. For example, when you try to buy something, start thinking, do I really need this thing? Or is there any more eco-friendly rather than this? Like that. And nowadays, life full of technology, you can use technology to spread awareness in social media. I believe everyone in this room has a mobile phone. Is there anyone who does not have a mobile phone here? Please raise your hand. If you have one, that is a privilege. That is a tool that you can use to spread awareness and influence people in the social media about environmental issues by educating people and share solutions that others can follow. Second, a sustainable future. You may have heard this word sustainable from the previous speakers, right? But what is it actually? Sustainable means able to continue a long term without hurting the environment or our future generation. It basically means to keep it going, to support. Environmental problem is happening now. But the solution does not have to be always complicated. In fact, some solutions or some effective solutions are by simple things or simple steps. And here are steps that you can do, everyone. First, reduce the use of plastic. Bring your own bottle and avoid unnecessary packaging and reuse it if it's in a good condition or if it's usable. I know plastic is cheaper. It's easy to get, right? But the point is not that we eliminate these plastic things or cut off the plastic. But the point is how we can use it wisely. It's about the lifestyle, everyone. Not just use and throw it on the trash can and do it frequently like that. It's about the lifestyle, everyone. And solving the environmental problem also protect our people. And the second, manage waste properly. Separate organic and non-organic things, or recycle it when possible. And then the third, save the energy, guys. Save the energy. It's like turn off the lights when it's not in use. It sounds simple, right? But if you do that frequently, it reduces the pressure on environmental. It reduces the environmental pressures. And the fourth, influence others. Nowadays we have cell phone, we have mobile phone. You can use that to spread awareness. Sustainability is not about one big action. It's about millions of small and consistent actions. And my last point, the third, an inclusive feature. What it is actually. Everyone, environmental problem does not affect everyone equally. Some people or poor people are affected or suffer more from loads, from landslide, than any other disaster. So, by solving environmental problems, is not only saving the nature, it is only saving the people. However, many people still think that big change always comes from government. But history shows us different. Many big changes start with small action, or even from a small group of people. And an inclusive feature here means that everyone is involved, everyone is heard, and everyone benefits. Everyone gets benefits. So the real question is not can you make a difference, but the real question is, are we willing? Are we willing to take responsibility? Ladies and gentlemen, the environmental problem, the environmental crisis is real. So is our power to respond it. So, the last of my speech, the smarter future begins with awareness. A sustainable future begins with action. And an inclusive future begins with unity. So let not us wait for others to act. Start with small and simple steps. Start with daily habits and start today. So let me close with this. The earth does not need perfect people. It needs responsible people. Because the future is not something we wait for. It is something we build. It is something we shape and something we protect. Lastly, I'm not saying, or this speech is not saying that younger people or young people is always better than older people. But my point is, young people and older people can work together and trust each other to make a much better future for our future generation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, next Muhammad Yazid Hafizan Firosyan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, honorable jury, my friends, and ladies and gentlemen. In the realm of grand narrative, we often encounter the concept of a second chance, the rare opportunity to relive time and correct the mistake of the past. While we may not possess the mystical power to reset the clock. But our generation possesses something arguably more potent, is the clarity to learn and the agency to act. We are not just living for the future, but we are defining it by how we master the present. Hi, my fellow visionaries. I'm Yazid and I'm from Mantu Mataram. The title of my speech is The Architect of Today is Crafting a Smart, Sustainable, and Inclusive Future. To create architect of a world that must be smart, sustainable, and inclusive future, we must start developing the 3 points that I will convey. First point is intelligence is breaking the cycle through vision. A smart future is not merely built on silicon and circuit. It is built on the mastery of pattern. True intelligence lies in our ability to look at the filings of history and refuse to repeat them. Just as one might navigate a second life with the wisdom of the first, we must use of progress, harnessing innovation to foster transparency, critical thinking, and deeper understanding of the world around us. The second point is sustainability is our confidence with the earth. In any story of redemption, the greatest mission is to protect what remains. For us, sustainability is not a mere trend, it is our perseverance in action. We recognize that the earth's resources are not an infinite inheritance, but a fragile trust. We must act with the urgency of someone who has seen a world in ruin and returned to prevent it by choosing green energy, circular economy, and ethical consumption. We ensure that the story of humanity does not end in a wasteland, but continues in a flourishing garden. Third point is inclusive future is dismantling the dogmas of inclusion. A grand destiny cannot be achieved by a solitary hero, but it requires a collective awakening. Inclusive future is the brave act of dismantling the walls that have historically divided us. We strive for a world where access to opportunity is not a privilege of the few but a right for all. To be truly inclusive is to recognize that every voice carries a unique spark of potential when we embrace diversity across gender, background, and ability. We are not just being fair, but we are becoming invincible through our shared strength. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is not a script that has already been written. It is a blank canvas awaiting our ink. We must live with the mindset that all today is our chance to get it right. Let us not be paralyzed by the scale of the challenge or the dogmas of the past. Instead, let us move forward with sharp, intelligent, and proper reference for our planet and a heart that leaves no one behind. Let us prove that our generation is the one that finally mastered its fate. Let us create a legacy that we will be proud to relive time and time again. I'm Yazid and I'm from Mandua Mataram. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, for the next participant, Queen Sa Kumairo.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and best wishes for us all. Dear the honorable judges, the respected guests, and all my dear fellow participants. First of all, let us praise and thank to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his blessing and mercy, so that we're able to gather here today in a good health and great spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered how impactful the youth voice is for our future? Today, I'm Queen Sa Kumairo from Mandua Mataram, ready to tell you all about how impactful the youth voice is for our future. I'm proud to stand here and proud to speak, not only as a student, but as a part of generations that dares to dream, to innovate, and to create change. Youth voices are not small, they are big, strong, meaningful, and capable to shaping a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future. I stand here to speak about something that often being underestimated, but not many people know it has so many potentials. That is the voice of youth. Many people already told us, young people is the leader of the future, the leader of tomorrow. But the truth is, we're the leader of today. Our ideas, creativity, and courage matter now more than ever. In a world that is rapidly changing by technology, environmental challenge, and social transformations, young people must not just be a spectator. We must be active participants. A smarter future means embracing educations, innovations, and critical thinking. As the digital generations, we have so many access. We have unlimited access to search anything we want, literally anything we want, from just our fingertips. But being smart is not only about mastering technology, but being smart is how we use technology wisely to solve problems, to spread truth, and to create opportunities for everyone. For example, today we see how social media can spread both informations and misinformations, and that's our responsibility to use it wisely, to become the solutions, not the problems. A sustainable future means taking care of our planet. Climate change, pollution, lack of natural resource is not the problem of the future. It's happening now. It's our problems. To save our planet as a young people, we can start from a small actions like reducing waste, supporting eco-friendly initiatives, and spreading awareness. Small actions, when done by many people, can create a big change. An inclusive future means ensuring that no one is left behind, regardless of gender, background, ability, and social status. Everyone is deserves equal opportunities. However, in reality, we still see discriminations, bullying, and people being judged for being different, even in school. As young people, we must stand against discriminations and promote respect, empathy, and collaborations. Diversity is not a weakness, it's our greatest strength. Our voices matter. When we speak up about education, equality, and sustainability, we are not just expressing opinion, but we're shaping a directions for the future. History has shown that youth movements have changed nations, influenced policies, and inspired generations. As young people, we have ideas, creativity, and courage. Bright future is not simply happen to us, it is built by us. So let us speak with purpose, act with responsibility, and and stand together for a positive change. Because when your voices rise, the future listens. Our small actions can create a big change. So when we leave this room, let us not just be a listener, but be the change maker for our future. Let us turn our ideas into actions and our voices into impact. Together, we can build a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future for everyone. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for the attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Oke. Next, Asriyatin Najibul Haq.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start, let me introduce myself. Not just my name, but with my voice. Hello everyone, I'm Asriyatin Najibul Haq from 11 Mataram, and today I will deliver a speech about From Scroll to Shine, transforming social media into a place to create and grow an impact. Honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever realized that the cell phone in our hands is the most powerful free creative tool in the world? How many hours a day do we spend only for scrolling on social media? And of that time, how many minutes do we actually spend for creating something? In fact, social media is not just a place for entertainment. It's a free open space for young generation. It's a free open space that full of opportunities for young generation to create and express their creativity and even bring about sustainable changes. Despite the wide range of opportunities and access, many people still don't utilize these opportunities for something on the right reasons. The purpose of social media platforms is to facilitate communication and information sharing. This has led many to speculate that social media is a dangerous space. However, the truth is social media is not completely dangerous. It's like a double-edged knife, where it depends on the people that use the platform. The ease of online communication, witnessed by many, has created opportunities for content creators to maximize profits. However, not all content creators presenting an educational content. Instead, they portray negative activities such as begging, exploiting the elderly, children, or people with disabilities. Once upon a time, a social media live video showing an old woman bathing in a moat has captured the attention of netizens. The live, which has attracted people's attention, has led to the creation of gifts and subsequently generated money. Netizen has responded to the content, with some supporting it while others are not. This case is showing that social media can spread something very, very quickly. But on the other side, it also shows that social media can be an opportunity for young people who have a worth developing creativity, so making it a place for their space to flow, making it a space for their growth and inspiration, such as Erika Ricardo. Who knows Erika Ricardo here? Erika Ricardo is a painter, digital content creator, YouTuber, and young entrepreneur from Indonesia. She started her career from a self-taught hobby, but she did it. She hit the TikTok world, founded an art business called By Painters, and even focused on social actions such as building a school in Lombok. This point of view shows that social media is not a field
for spreading something bad, but a place to release creativity and gain motivation. Many of the nation's children have a creativity and talents that are worth developing, but unfortunately, they are surrounded. They are surrounded by poor economic condition, or even have no place to perform, nor to their allocated their talents and skills. Through social media, they can develop the talents they already have across the various platforms. They will get better understanding, focusing on themselves, focusing on their abilities, exploring themselves, improving their quality, and even collaborating with others. We all have something unique, so why keep it hidden? Start creating, start sharing, and start growing from now. If it's not now, then when? If it's not you, then who? Because through social media, we not only get access to scroll, but the access to create and shine. I hope my speech gives you a new perspective or inspiration. That's all for me. Thank you for your kind attention and have a nice day. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke. Selanjutnya Noh Zlatan Ibrahim.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most just and the most merciful, may His peace and blessings be upon us all. And may His mercy be upon those who ease the sufferings of others, for indeed, that's what you can do in today's time. Ladies and gentlemen, life is suffering. At least that's what the Buddha said around 528 BCE, after sitting under a tree and figuring things out. And when I first heard it, I thought, wow, that's quite depressing. I mean, why did the Buddha say life is suffering? He's an enlightened teacher. But I thought of myself, was he just pessimistic, depressed, or apathetic of the human condition? No, apparently not. He was only speaking the truth. And the truth was that every human being suffers. And that's a fact. I mean, your parents suffer, your neighbors suffer, even the kid who seems to have everything suffers. And the richest person alive still suffers. That means that suffering doesn't care if you are rich, beautiful, powerful, or successful. But the Buddha also said that, well, suffering isn't the main problem. How we respond to it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may think that, okay, how does this connect to today's theme of what? Youth voice for a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future. Well, the keywords are already there. There are smart, sustainable, inclusive, future. That's the keywords. Now, it sounds important, right? I mean, it does. It sounds like we must climb that mountain, and we must really, really try hard to build it. Or like we're drafting the blueprint for the city of Atlantis. It's quite a monumental task, but what if I say to you that we don't need to build it? What if it isn't far away and that we have forgotten that we're already living in it? Now, because the problem of suffering is so universal, we will tie this into a Buddhist concept called interconnectedness. Or in Sanskrit term, it's called the Pratitya Samutpada. Don't say that 5 times fast. Pratitya Samutpada literally means dependent origination. Basically, nothing exists on its own. Everything that arises must be because from everything else. That's it. Now, it sounds like a wild complex on how interconnectedness is shaping our every life when it is literally everywhere. Because Let me explain it first. 2 days ago, I bought a hot cup of coffee. Simple, isn't it? Drank it in maybe 5 minutes and tossed it away after 5 chugs or something. But when I realized is that the cup never disappeared. Someone, somewhere, designed that cup. Someone manufactured that cup in a factory. Someone put it on a ship that traveled through the seas. Someone drove a truck to deliver it to the cafe. Someone gave me the cup from that cafe, and someone picked up my trash, and someone will try to recycle it. Or it'll stay in the landfill for 200 years, where its microplastics slowly seep into the environment, into the soil in which someone else will eat. This is what the Pratitya Samutpada is about. If you don't have the word, if you don't have the time for the pronunciation, a Vietnamese monk called it interbeing. Interbeing is quite literally about you're not separate from anything else. That's it. I mean, you think you are, I think I am, but we're not. We are connected in every way we are. Basically, a different someone is basically a you in a different body. That's it. Now, well, what about the sentences of follow your dreams or be yourself? You are special. Yes, you are special. And yes, you should follow your dreams, but it does not mean that you're not separate. Now, this is not just another spiritual woo-woo or a delusion mind speaking? No, this is actually backed by scientific proof. Genetically, you and I are 99.8% similar. The difference between you and me is the same difference between a fisherman in Norway and a farmer in Papua. It's only 0.2%. That's it. I mean, our body temperature is 98.6 Fahrenheit or 37 Celsius. That's our body temperature. We're not different after all. Now, how does this connect to the Pratitya Samutpada? Well, if you go back far enough in time, you'll realize that we're made of the same thing. We're made of stardust, okay? We are, quite literally, the universe looking at itself alive. That's what we are. So when people talk about saving the environment, I always think that we're not really saving it, the environment. We're saving us because we are the environment. Now, all right. I have connected. I have talked about how we're also interconnectedness. Great. Now what? Well, you may be thinking that, all right, I get it. I mean, I should probably go to the local stores, buy locally, check every product in Google if it's ethically sourced. It's not wrong, but the moment you turn it into a chores, a virtue type of chores, and that exhausts you, you've kind of missed the point. Here's what I'm talking about. Right now, as I speak, you are breathing. You are breathing the same air as I am. You are inhaling oxygen from the Amazon rainforest, from the phytoplankton in the Pacific, from the plants in Borneo. And you didn't deserve that oxygen you breathe. You didn't do anything at all to deserve it, yet the web of life gives it to you anyway. And when you exhale carbon dioxide in which the plants will use to grow. So it's cyclic. We're all in a web. That's it. And after all, what troubles me is that we're not in the web. What troubles me is that when forests fall, hectares flattened, plants replaced by something with capitalistic endeavors, it collapses into something. Like we are silent about it. And this web of life only cares about consequences. This is what Pratitya Samutpada is about. Because remember, even doing nothing is doing something. Remember that. Cause and effect. This is what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. You cannot eliminate suffering overnight, or you cannot tackle problems overnight, because suffering is as interconnected as we are. And since the Buddha knew this, of course, the Muslims knew this too. Christians knew this. And of course, I hope you all knew this, that suffering is so interconnected. But you can't eliminate suffering from the human condition, yes, except for one. You can ease it. Think of it like this. Think of a child that fell and scraped their knee. Their cuts are real, their blood is real, their cries are real. But the moment when the mother came and pressed a tender, gentle kiss on the boo-boo, the kid felt less alone. Of course, the cut doesn't heal, but the kid felt less alone. The kid felt agape. This is what I've been circling all around. Compassion. That's all we are. We need compassion today. Because, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, what did we even learn? What could we actually do? Well, we learned that the Buddha said life is suffering. Yes, but he also said that thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and that candle's life will not be shortened. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. That's what I'm saying. Because your liberation is tied to everybody else. And I'm going to be honest, the steps for this theme of smarter, sustainable, inclusive future, I can't really give you a clear, rigorous steps, but I'll try. That's the least I can do for you all today. First, the step is pick a thread. Remember, you cannot fix everything. You'll go insane trying. Just care for one thing. Whether it is supporting local farmers or even remembering someone's name you usually forgot, that's all it takes. Second, forgive yourself for being part of the problem. Because you are. Because I am. We all are. We all waste. We all harm without meaning to. Yet to change is to become. And that's what it means to be in this cycle of life, in this web of life. Third, remember you are stardust. You are made of the same material as the galaxies, as the planets, as the stars. You are 30.8 evolution billion cosmic years old. So act like it, even if this is your first time alive. Because at the basic level, we're all just stardust, having temporary human experiences. Floating somewhere in a planet, easing each other's suffering. Somewhere, somewhen. So the answer for today's theme of smarter, sustainable, inclusive future is really that we already are the future we're looking for. Now the only question left is, will we act like it? That's it. That's Nusa Tenggara Ibrahim. I am Nusa Tenggara Ibrahim. Thank you for listening to my long speech, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke. Selanjutnya, Nuril Bintang Bali Nusra.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, respected judges, honorable guests, and all of my beloved friends. First of all, I would like to express my deepest gratitude for the opportunity given to me to stand in here and deliver my speech today. It is truly an honor for me to be part of this meaningful competition, sharing our ideas and shape our future. I am from the Senior High School 1 Tanjung, North Lombok. My name is Bintang Yusra. But today, I'm not just a name standing in here. I'm a voice, a story, and a representation of many young generation who still struggling to be heard. So, before I begin, I would like to ask you one question. Have you ever felt unheard when you are trying to express your opinion? Have you ever been seen as someone who doesn't understand enough or even underestimate it just because you are young? Have you ever experienced that? Well, I have. And I believe many young people here have felt the same way too. Today, I'm standing here to deliver a message about the important youth voice in building a smart and sustainable future. Before I continue, let me take you into a story. So, not long ago, I had the opportunity to participate a youth consultation as a member of Sahabat Pengadilan. We engaged a dialogue with the First Lady of West Nusa Tenggara, Mrs. Sinta Iqbal. In that moment, we spoke about the serious issues. Child marriage. During the youth consultation, we spoke about honestly how difficult it is our voice to be heard and our effort to be supported. But fortunately, Mrs. Sinta Iqbal responded with a great openness. Several stakeholders were also present, and through the dialogue, we can find some solution for our issues that we have been facing today. Do you know, guys, in West Nusa Tenggara, there have been more than 140 recorded cases. And behind these numbers, there is children who are forced to grow up too soon. In that moment, we truly feel hurt. And one thing I realized is that being hurt is not enough. We need real action. As young people, we must speak up directly those in power. Because before this, I had also been involved to voicing children's concern, but too often, it often led to empty promises. Child marriage is closely linked to poverty, lack of education, and stunting. And also, it's creating the cycle is so difficult to break. And beyond that, today's youth were also facing social media pressure, bullying, mental health challenge, and also unhealthy social lifestyle. And these issues are shaped our generation, silently but deeply. We are often invited to speak. We are included in discussion, but the truth is, our voices are often heard but not implemented. So, how we as young generation can make our voice heard, can we change and ensure that our actions are not just temporary, but sustainable? First, we must dare to speak up. Too often, young people are seen as someone who not understand enough, or even not really understand about the issues. But silence will not change that perception. We need to share confidently about our ideas, our concepts, and our realities, because no one understands about the youth issues better than us. Second, we must build knowledge and credibility. Because being heard is not only about speaking loudly, but also speaking wisely. We need to support our voice with real data, real experiments, and a clear solution. Because when we come with a real and strong argument, people will take us seriously. Third, we must move from word to action. Because our voice becomes more powerful when it's supported by a real action. Whatever it is work, campaign, community programs, social movement, we must show that we are not only asking for change, but we are the part of solution. Fourth, we must collaborate and build networks because change cannot be created alone. We need to work together with others, young people, communities, organizations, or even policymakers. Because when we are united, our voice becomes stronger and harder to be ignored. And finally, we must ensure that consistency and sustainability. Because real change doesn't happen overnight. It is required commitment. We must continue speaking, acting, and pushing forward, even when our progress feels so slow. Because consistency is what turns a small action into a big impact. We, the youth, are often seen as too young to understand, too inexperienced to contribute, and sometimes even underestimated. Our ideas are dismissed, our concerns are overlooked, and our potential is left untapped. Yet, the truth is, we are not the problem. We are the part of solution. We are ready to learn. We are ready to speak. And the most importantly, we are ready to contribute. But the readiness is, alone is not enough. We need space. We need the opportunities. And we need to be trusted. Because when young generation is given the platform, we don't just speak. We lead the change and we create the impact. We don't just participate, we lead change. So today, I stand here not to demand, but remind, involve us, listen us, and trust us. Because the future is not something we wait for, it is something we build together. Ladies and gentlemen, being heard is not given, it is built. And the real change is not promises, it is created. So let us not only raise our voice, but also strengthen them with real action, with courage and persistence, because we are not just leaders of tomorrow. We are the change makers of today. That's all from me. I'm Bintang Nusra. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, peserta selanjutnya atas nama Niputu Lydia Purnama Dewi.
Honorable judges and respectable all the audiences, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before I start my speech today, I would like to tell you that the purpose of my speech is to share new knowledge and meaningful with all of you. We are living in a world that is constantly changing, shaped by the choice we make today. So, let me ask you simple questions. How is the future of our world determined by the voice of young people today? The answer is quite simple. The future depends on how brave we are to speak up, how much we care about it, and how far we take actions. Because youth voice is not just words, it is the beginning of change. And me, Niputu Lydia Purnama Dewi, and I'm come from SMA Negeri 1 Tanjung. Today, I would like to deliver my speech about youth voice for a smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future. Youth voice. It means ideas, courage, and action of young people to express what they believe in. It's an important role into creating the future that is smarter, sustainable, and inclusive future. Smarter. Smarter means is using technology and critical thinking to solve problems. Sustainable. Sustainable means is respecting diversity and ensuring everyone is valued. Inclusive. Inclusive means is protecting the environment for the future generations. Education plays a key role in strengthening youth voices. It teaches us not only to memorize, but also to think, solve problems, and face real-life challenges. Through educations, we can create a smarter future by being creative and innovative. We can build a sustainable future by protecting the environment for the future generations. And the last, we can create an inclusive future by respecting the environment and valuing every voices. To support this idea, let me share a simple fact. According to United Nations, young people make up a significant part of the world populations. This means our voices is truly matter in shaping the future. However, knowledge is not enough if we stay silent. We, as young people, must dare to speak up, share ideas, and take actions. Because change does not only come from leaders, but also come from students like us. We can start from simple things: speaking in class, joining the activities, spreading positive message, and helping others. Because youth voice is not just words, it is the beginning of change. So, let us not only be smart students, but also brave individuals who are creating a better, sustainable, and inclusive future. In conclusions, youth voice are powerful and important. The future is not something far away. It starts today with us. So, let us speak up, take actions, and never be afraid to share our ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all about my speech today. I hope my speech gives a new knowledge and meaningful with all of you. Thank you for your kind attention and thank you for nice listening to my speech. Me, Niputu Lydia Purnamadewi, good afternoon and thank you.
Okay, next. Ina Samila Aprilia.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to the honorable and five-minded judges, and of course to our audience and digital native and the future captains of tomorrow. Imagine a map. There on the map, there is a tiny to call it Mataram. From this dot, a grill set off every day, crossing the border between the real world and digital world. That girl is me. I'm Ina Shamila Aprilia from Manwan Mataram. From the smell dot on the map, I and us can witness extraordinary sight. A giant bridge built by digital age. On one the silence of first ocean opportunity. On the other side, a deep kitchen of challenge. On this occasion, allow me to deliver a speech under topic is this: we are the present, not the future. To the dreams, the door, on the quiet in the back, and the lawns once the first line before I budget. Let me ask you something. Have you a lot and the nose at top? This world is a mess, but I can't possible to about it. I'm just a young person. If you have, raise your hands. It's okay, I have felt that way too. But here, this truth the ones tell you, you are not just a young person. You are the who will live the longest with the consequence of today's decisions. So even not was rules, and even not know when. Smart doesn't mean memorize facts. Smart means thinking critical. In a world of AI, defects, and information overload, smart is mean asking, is this true? Who benefits from this? And what is evidence? We are the digital generation. We can use technology not just to scroll, but to solve. A smarter future is one here and teacher is a remote village can learn coding. Where students use data to fight corruption and where we treat social media as a tool for change, not a battlefield for hate. Look around. Plastic on our rivers, smoke in our skies, heat waves, flood, and melting ice. Sustainability is not a trend. It is a survival. We don't need a perfect eco-radius. We need millions of imperfect taking small yet a consistent action. Bring your own bottle, turn off the light, walk on your bike when you can't. But also speak up about the issue. We should demand the renewable energy, question participation, or even super green policies. Because the planet is not a rental, it's our only home. A future where your skin color, your religion, or usability, or whom you love do decide your appartenance. And inclusive means no one is left behind. And here, beautiful thing, young people are the less of prejudice and generation in history. We grew up online, connecting across border. We know that the diversity is not weakness but on great strength. So let's build a classroom, workplace, and a cozy where everyone feels they belong. Be the generation. Let's be the generation. Let's be the generation that apologizes less after accessing and celebrates more for difference. Allow me to close this speech with a metaphor. Everyone is a captain of the ship called the future. The digital era is the vast ocean we sail across, and opportunity is when the files our sails. Well challenged and are the waves and the storm we face. Never had over the feeling of our ship to Elgrim. Never less are the be blown by the wind of hawks. And never forget our most important compass is our harmony. And the wave and the storm we must overcome. Be a skilled captain, a captain who is not only able to steer during on ship tower, the island of the trees, but also sail together with the orders, forming a mighty flag for Indonesia Mass 2045. Without a critical mind in digital world, I'm Ina. Thank you.
Oke. Oke, kita akan break selama 5 menit dulu teman-teman ya. Oke, teman-teman, kita break sejenak 5 menit.
Di tengah laju teknologi dan kebutuhan finansial masyarakat yang terus berkembang, hadir sebuah solusi berbasis digital yang menjawab tantangan tersebut. Platform pinjaman digital berbasis teknologi informasi yang menghubungkan peminjam dan pemberi pinjaman dengan komitmen kuat untuk terus berinovasi. Kami telah berizin dan diawasi oleh OJK. Misi kami adalah menghadirkan layanan keuangan yang inklusif demi masa depan masyarakat Indonesia yang lebih baik. Kami membangun budaya kerja yang berlandaskan nilai be good, be better, do your best. Karena keberhasilan bukan hanya tentang teknologi, tapi juga tentang kepercayaan dan niat baik. Krediwan, solusi pinjaman digital yang inklusif dan bertanggung jawab. Bersama Anda, kami hadir untuk tumbuh dan membawa perubahan positif. Di tengah laju teknologi dan kebutuhan finansial masyarakat yang terus berkembang, hadir sebuah solusi berbasis digital yang menjawab tantangan tersebut. Platform pinjaman digital berbasis teknologi informasi yang menghubungkan peminjam dan pemberi pinjaman dengan komitmen kuat untuk terus berinovasi. Kami telah berizin dan diawasi oleh OJK. Misi kami adalah menghadirkan layanan keuangan yang inklusif demi masa depan masyarakat Indonesia yang lebih baik. Kami membangun budaya kerja yang berlandaskan nilai be good, be better, do your best. Karena keberhasilan bukan hanya tentang teknologi, tapi juga tentang kepercayaan dan niat baik. Krediwan, solusi pinjaman digital yang inklusif dan bertanggung jawab. Bersama Anda, kami hadir untuk tumbuh dan membawa perubahan positif.
Nusa Tenggara Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi 2 mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. 2 puncak, 2 cerita, 1 kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam 1 genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini kami melangkah dengan semangat baru, melayani setiap transaksi masyarakat dengan penuh dedikasi. 2 kebanggaan dalam 1 genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah.
Di tengah laju teknologi dan kebutuhan finansial masyarakat yang terus berkembang, hadir sebuah solusi berbasis digital yang menjawab tantangan tersebut. Platform pinjaman digital berbasis teknologi informasi yang menghubungkan peminjam dan pemberi pinjaman dengan komitmen kuat untuk terus berinovasi. Kami telah berizin dan diawasi oleh OJK. Misi kami adalah menghadirkan layanan keuangan yang inklusif demi masa depan masyarakat Indonesia yang lebih baik. Kami membangun budaya kerja yang berlandaskan nilai be good, be better, do your best. Karena keberhasilan bukan hanya tentang teknologi, tapi juga tentang kepercayaan dan niat baik. Krediwan, solusi pinjaman digital yang inklusif dan bertanggung jawab. Bersama Anda, kami hadir untuk tumbuh dan membawa perubahan positif. Di tengah laju teknologi dan kebutuhan finansial masyarakat yang terus berkembang, hadir sebuah solusi berbasis digital yang menjawab tantangan tersebut. Platform pinjaman digital berbasis teknologi informasi yang menghubungkan peminjam dan pemberi pinjaman dengan komitmen kuat untuk terus berinovasi. Kami telah berizin dan diawasi oleh OJK. Misi kami adalah menghadirkan layanan keuangan yang inklusif demi masa depan masyarakat Indonesia yang lebih baik. Kami membangun budaya kerja yang berlandaskan nilai be good, be better, do your best. Karena keberhasilan bukan hanya tentang teknologi, tapi juga tentang kepercayaan dan niat baik. Krediwan, solusi pinjaman digital yang inklusif dan bertanggung jawab. Bersama Anda, kami hadir untuk tumbuh dan membawa perubahan positif.
Nusa Tenggara Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi 2 mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. 2 puncak, 2 cerita, 1 kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam 1 genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini kami melangkah dengan semangat baru, melayani setiap transaksi masyarakat dengan penuh dedikasi. 2 kebanggaan dalam 1 genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah.
Di tengah laju teknologi dan kebutuhan finansial masyarakat yang terus berkembang, hadir sebuah solusi berbasis digital yang menjawab tantangan tersebut. Platform pinjaman digital berbasis teknologi informasi yang menghubungkan peminjam dan pemberi pinjaman dengan komitmen kuat untuk terus berinovasi. Kami telah berizin dan diawasi oleh OJK. Misi kami adalah menghadirkan layanan keuangan yang inklusif demi masa depan masyarakat Indonesia yang lebih baik. Kami membangun budaya kerja yang berlandaskan nilai be good, be better, do your best. Karena keberhasilan bukan hanya tentang teknologi, tapi juga tentang kepercayaan.
Peserta selanjutnya atas nama Ahmad Ataya.
Tes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, my fellow friends, respected judges. For short, good evening for everyone here. I want to start with a wild guess. Well, it's not really a guess because I'm pretty sure that is 100% true. I'm pretty sure that at least almost everyone in this room has opened their social media today. Well, I don't really care about what you do with your social media. Maybe you're just scrolling or replying chats or even just wasting your time. I don't care. But, well, it's not really a problem because I do that too. But my real question now is that did actually you have think about it, like all of your scrolling, did actually anything about that happen, making it change? Like, did you see a problem and then they suddenly disappear by just scrolling your social media? Or maybe did environment suddenly getting better? Or did you just scrolling and then move on? We, as the young generation, are often known as the generation that always online. We see everything, we know everything, and we react to everything. But the thing is, are we actually do anything about it? Ladies and gentlemen, we as the young generation are often also called as the young change maker, the future leaders. Wow, that sounds very cool, right? That sounds fancy. But here's the thing. How can we be a change maker if you don't change anything? If we don't create change? And maybe now you starting to ask, hey Ataya, how can you create change? Well, it's very simple actually, because we already have the tool for that. We already have one tool that is very powerful to create change. It's our voice, especially our youth voice. Youth voice is not actually a voice when we talk or when we speak or when we're talking nonsense and empty words that's coming out from our mouth. No, no. That's called nonsense. That's called empty words, yes. But a youth voice is actually a voice that can create something, that can change anything. And if you still don't understand what I mean, don't worry, because I have prepared an example, and it's not too far from Indonesia because it's in Indonesia itself. It's a very powerful example, and they're very famous too. And I'm pretty sure that everyone here in this room know them, Pandawara Group. Pandawara is very interesting. They are very interesting part about Pandawara. First, they don't have any superpower. Well, I don't have any too, but who cares? Two, they are not politicians. And three, they are not a powerful people from the government. No, no. Instead, they are just young people just like us.
But the difference between them and us is that when they saw rivers filled with trash, dirty, ignored, smelly, they're not just posting it in social media and then complaining about it to the government. No, they stepped in. And when I said step in, I literally mean it, step in. Because they stepped into the rivers and cleaned it by their own hands. And now let's talk about their tools. They don't have any expensive tools. They don't have any professional tool. Their tools is just their determination, teamwork, social media, and their own hands. All right, let's stop talking about Pandawara for now because we will talk about them later. Now let's talk about our theme today. Youth Voice for a Smarter, Sustainable, and Inclusive Future. Sounds big, huh? Let's break it down one by one. First, smarter future. In this case, smart doesn't mean about grades. It's not even about technology, but it's about how we use technology. Pandawara understand this very clearly because they use social media as their tool not only for entertainment, not only for scrolling, not only for wasting time. No, they actually use social media to influence people, spreading awareness. And you know what? It actually worked. Their videos went viral, and people began to pay attention, and volunteers joined. And here's the catch. They just do a small step by cleaning a river, but they turn that small steps into a bigger movement. And that's what I call youth voice. It's not just talking, it's not just complaining, posting, it's about do something. All right, that's the first one, ladies and gentlemen. Now the second one, sustainable future. Here's when people often misunderstood the concept of sustainable future. People often think that change begin with a big step, begin with a perfection, but no. Actually, change began with a small step, but do it consistently, repeatedly. Pandawara doesn't clean the whole country at once. They clean one river, and then another, and then another. Their one small step have influenced many people, thousands, and even millions of people have already influenced by Pandawara, just by doing a small step. So, I'm suggesting you guys to not ever underestimate small steps, because small steps done consistently can turn into a bigger movement. All right, that's the second one. Now the third one, inclusive future. Inclusive means involving everyone without leaving anyone behind. And Pandawara understand that very clearly too, because they know they can't do it alone. Instead, they spread their videos to Instagram, to TikTok, and people began to volunteer. They invited people, they built a community. In this case, we already know that change doesn't happen by individuals. Change happens by us, not by you, by her, by you, by me, no, by us. Real change happens together by collaboration, not by individuals. All right. Now let's talk about the harsh truth. The harsh truth is, it's easy to look like we care in online, even in real life. But it's much harder to care enough to actually do something. Post is easy, commenting is easy, complaining is easy. But action, you need to grow some hair in your chest. You need to have courage, because that's the real challenge. So now, in this room, today, I want to challenge all of us, you guys, me, us. I want to challenge you guys so that the next time you see a problem, Don't just scroll, don't just react, do something. We as the young change maker, as the future leaders, and as a human beings have a shared responsibility to actually do something. Because change, big change, always starts with a simple step. And it's built by those who chose not to just scrolling or react. No, it's built by those who chose to act. So guys, let's not be the generation that only scroll. Let's be a generation that actually do something. Because we have a very, very powerful power. We have a very powerful weapon, tool, to actually do something. It's our voice. But if we use it right. I'm Ahmad Ataya. I'm from Kota Mataram. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke. Selanjutnya peserta terakhir atas nama Aini Ayudia Filza Zafani.
Tes. Tes. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, first, we are often told that we are too young to talk about the future. That we should wait, stay quiet, or let the adults handle it. But the truth is, we are already living in the future. They are shaping, but sometimes damaging. Good evening, everyone. My name is Aime Ayudia Filzafani. You guys can call me Aime, and I'm from Senior High School 3 Mataram. As a student, we hear a lot about global issues, climate change, pollution, and inequality. We discuss them in classrooms, we see them on social media, and we all know they're real. But somehow, we are rarely get invited to be part of the solution. We are told to wait, to grow up first, or to not get involved. But I started to question that. Because if we are old enough to witness the problem, then we are old enough to start fixing them. When we hear the word youth, many people think of potential, energy, and dreams. We are told that we are the leaders of the futures. But the truth is, we are also the leader of today. Right now, in every moment, young people all around the world are creating ideas, solving problems, and even driving change. Our voices is not something to be saved for later. They're needed now. Okay, let's talk about sustainability. We all share one home right now. It's our planet. And that home is facing a challenge, a serious challenge right now, like climate change, pollution, and deforestation. Sometimes this problem feels too big, too far away, or too difficult to solve. But the truth is, change does not always start with a big action. It starts with a small, consistent choices, like we can reduce plastic use, save water and energy, or support eco-friendly products, or raise awareness in our communities. This action may seem simple, right? But when enough young people do them together, they create a powerful impact. These actions, sustainability is not about protecting nature. It's about protecting our future. It's about ensuring that the next generation can live in a world that's healthy, safe, and full of opportunity. Now, let's imagine a future where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. That is what inclusive future looks like. An inclusive future means not discriminating others. It means respecting differences. As you can see, we live in a diverse world. like different cultures, languages, religions, and perspective. But instead of seeing these differences as barriers, we should see them as a strength. As you, we have a unique advantage. We're growing up in a more connected world. We can learn about different cultures, understand different experiences, and build friendship across the borders. But inclusion is not automatic. It requires effort. It starts with empathy, it starts with kindness, it starts with the courage to speak up when something is wrong. Because a truly inclusive future is one where no one is left behind. And remember, our voice is our power. Throughout history, young people been at the center of change. They have challenged unfair system, inspired movement, and brought new ideas to life. We have creativity, passion, and courage. Today, we have more tools to make our voice heard. Like we have social media, education, and global platforms. But having a voice is not enough. We must choose to use it. A smarter, a sustainable, and an inclusive future is not just a vision. It is a mission. And that mission belongs to all of us, especially the youth. Because we have the ideas, we have the energy, and we have the power. Now, all we need is the courage to act. Because the future is not something we enter, it's something that we build together. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Oke, teman-teman, itu adalah the last participant for today. Terima kasih, thanks you so much ya. Semoga 36 peserta tadi yang sudah memberikan perform yang luar biasa, semoga beruntung dan tentunya mendapatkan nilai yang keren. Dan jangan lupa yang ingin mengetahui siapa saja yang masuk grand final untuk tampil besok, itu bisa dicek nanti di grup. Dan tentunya next, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Tyson and Mr. Purwan. And we are waiting for the best participant for the grand final tomorrow. Ya, kita akan nantikan siapakah 10 orang yang menjadi grand final. Dan di antara 10 grand final kita akan memilih 3 terbaik. Oke, sebelumnya untuk sesi 2 ini saya ucapkan say to thanks.
Di tengah laju teknologi dan kebutuhan finansial masyarakat yang terus berkembang, hadir sebuah solusi berbasis digital yang menjawab tantangan tersebut. Platform pinjaman digital berbasis teknologi informasi yang menghubungkan peminjam dan pemberi pinjaman dengan komitmen kuat untuk terus berinovasi. Kami telah berizin dan diawasi oleh OJK. Misi kami adalah menghadirkan layanan keuangan yang inklusif demi masa depan masyarakat Indonesia yang lebih baik. Kami membangun budaya kerja yang berlandaskan nilai be good, be better, do your best. Karena keberhasilan bukan hanya tentang teknologi, tapi juga tentang kepercayaan dan niat baik. Krediwan, solusi pinjaman digital yang inklusif dan bertanggung jawab. Bersama Anda, kami hadir untuk tumbuh dan membawa perubahan positif.
Nusa Tenggara Barat, tanah dengan 1000 pesona alam dan budaya. Tropical Heaven from East Indonesia. Cakrawala ini dihiasi 2 mahkota agung berdiri tegak. Rinjani yang memeluk langit Lombok dan Tambora yang merajai bumi Sumbawa. 2 puncak, 2 cerita, 1 kemegahan yang abadi. Kami menyatukannya dalam satu genggaman untuk masyarakat Nusa Tenggara Barat. Tambora kami abadikan dalam simpanan tabungan untuk masa depan. Rinjani kami abadikan dalam layanan mobile banking. Kini Dua kebanggaan dalam satu genggaman. Tambora tabungannya, Rinjani mobile bankingnya. Rimo by Bank NTB Syariah.